Well. Yep, it's Cowboys After Dark. Probably going to be doing this on Wednesdays because I have Bible study and I can't really do YouTube like I want to on Wednesdays. So, yeah, this is probably going to be my permanent spot on Wednesday nights for sure. Cowboys After Dark. And again, welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this live stream, please like as you come in, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And if you haven't become a channel member or subscriber yet, please do. We have a lot of great things coming up in the future. So tonight, we're going to continue some places where we were the last couple of days. We're going to deal with this shoddy interview. I don't think we quite finished it. We're going to do day one and day two OTA news, whatever we can kind of dig up. I've already talked about the Pro Football Focus quarterback rank. And we may talk a little bit about a comment that Micah Parsons made that I think is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I'll probably be talking even more about it tomorrow. And might not be viewed as something that's a big deal, but I do think it needs to be talked about. I think it's a very good topic. So we're going to be talking again, the Shoddy interview. We're going to go back to that. Day one OTAs from 105.3 The Fan. And then I may talk a little bit about this Pro Football Focus quarterback rank again, but I've already talked about it. I think what I'm going to add to this is that we'll talk a little bit about the Micah Parsons thing in case you haven't seen it. But again, I appreciate y'all late night folk. I'm pretty sure more folk will get on as we continue on. Let's get a quick roll call for all you late night birds. Let's get a quick roll call. The ghost of Mike McCarthy is on. What's going on, the ghost of Mike McCarthy? I'm going to come back and I'm going to read that comment that you got up right here. My man Jared Thomas is on tonight. Number one Dak Prescott fan. I'm number two. What's going on with you? Yes, there is a new culture. It's good. Samuel Madrano, what's going on? What it do, big dog? Yes, sir. Same to you. Everything's good. Michael Towery, what's going on? Yes, sir. I'll be tuned in. He said all night. Where you at work, Michael Towery? Sam Rios, what's good? What's good with you? All right. All right, I'm going to come back and read your comments too, Jared. It's late night Cowboys, man. We got time. Probably go for a couple hours tonight. Alfonso Linder, what's going on with you? Cowboys fan at work. Oh, yeah, this is going to help a couple hours go by fast for you. This is going to help a couple hours go by fast for you, Alfonso. All right. Glad everybody's on. Oh, my sister Lisa Worley is on. What's going on? What is going on with you? Good to see you tonight. Hold on a second. Let me fix up something here. Yeah, I know everybody can't do it after dark, but they can catch it in the morning. Let's see here. All right. Yeah, here we go. Good morning. What's going on, Robert M31? My man, what up with you? Good to see you tonight. Alfonso said he loves it. All right, let's go. Let's get into this. All right, so let's get to our first topic of tonight. And we're going to get back to the Shoddy interview. Before we get to that, though, my wife was telling me about this on the way back home tonight. And the ghost of Mike McCarthy, he says, rest in peace, Jim Irsay. Rest in peace, Jim Irsay. He said, I know he had his demons early on in his life, but he seemed to be an owner that really cared about fans, their input, and loving this game along with them. Yeah. I think Jim always had good intentions. Yeah, I think he had good intentions. And so Jim Irsay, and from everything my wife was telling me, they said he passed peacefully in his sleep. You can't ask to go any better than that. You can't ask to go any better than that. So, yeah, prayers out to his family for for sure. Prayers out to the Jim Irsay family for sure. What's going on, Lonnie Cabal? What's going on with you? Vincent Dillard, what's going on? Good morning from Virginia. Yes, sir. Good morning. All right, let's see. Jerry had a couple comments before we get started back on this on the Brian Schottenheimer thing. He said, I just talked to some people. Jerry said, I just talked to some Eagle fans on YouTube that said they get the PFF list because of his playoff. They get the PFF list because of his playoff failures. Now, Jerry, you know we already dealt with this today, but you know what the contradiction is? So can they explain why they have Justin Herbert in number 8 with not only playoff failures, but the playoff failure he had this past playoff season? He was atrocious. Justin Herbert was atrocious. And I'm telling us, if Harbaugh don't turn that team around quick, if he don't turn that team around quick, it's going to be over for him too. They'll just blame him too. It's no one's fault but the coaches. Let's see here. Yeah, you know, it's amazing to me that people say they get it, but then when they come to Justin Herbert, they don't get it. Justin Herbert in the AFC playoff game, it was AFC wildcard round. They have the unmitigated gall to put Justin Herbert at number 8. And if I'm not mistaken, C.J. Stroud was way back there somewhere at 14. This is an absolute joke. Justin Herbert was 14 of 32, 242 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. Tell me the playoff game that Dak Prescott threw 4 interceptions. Tell me the playoff game. Tell me the playoff game that Dak Prescott threw 4 interceptions in a playoff game. Tell me. Tell me which one it is. Tell me the playoff game where Dak is 14 of 32, 242 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. Tell me the playoff game. And then to add injury to insult, C.J. Stroud with no wide receivers. C.J. Stroud goes 22 of 33, 282 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But he's number 14. Yeah, that list is opinionated, it's bogus, it's biased. And I don't still understand why people keep putting Justin Herbert. How does Justin Herbert keep making the top of these lists? I'm telling you, tell me anything you want to, but there's something else going on when this dude is at the top of people's list. I'm just telling you. That list is so bogus, people ought to be ashamed of themselves. I mean, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Renan, hit that like. Renan says hit that like button. I agree. What's going on, Renan? The ghost of Mike McCarthy said after this afternoon, I think you need to lay off PFF for a few days, G. It's not good for your blood pressure. Man, nah, I wasn't mad. I was just going in on them. It's terrible, man. It's a shame what they ought to be ashamed of themselves. I mean, you're as reputable as they are. Come on, man. They should be beyond rage baiting, as someone called it today. They should be beyond that. What's going on, Sam? He said it's 116 in Jersey. Yes, sir. My man Chanel in here. What's up, man? You can't handle the truth. He said, yo, G, please tell me how PFF positively flawed failing. Had Dak Prescott at the 17th best quarterback. Chanel. That's what the ghost of Mike McCarthy talking about. Man, I went in on them. Man, you know what? We'll do a briefer overview of it this morning or tonight. Derek Grimsley, what's going on with you? Yes, sir. Q-Town Dude, 1973 in the crib. What's going on? He said, don't expect to see a live from you this late. Oh, man. Q-Town, you late to the party, man. I do Cowboys After Dark. At least I try to do it once a week. If I'm doing good, I can do twice a week. But it is going to be a regular part of what I do. And I'm probably going to start doing it for sure on Wednesdays, and I'll figure out another day during the week. But, yeah, we will do Cowboys After Dark, and I actually been doing it. He said, but on that note, Do you see the Cowboys winning more than 8 games? Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Cowboys going to win way more than 8 games. For sure. For sure. Book it. Jared Thomas, 46% completions by Justin Herbert and 4 interceptions. That is god-awful. Got the audacity to put this man at number 8. It's a shame. It is a shame. And Chanel, I said the same thing you said already. There is no way you put Jaden Daniels in the top 10 after 1 season. But then have the nerve, the other nerve, to say at number 14, C.J. Stroud is a cautionary tale to Jaden Daniels. C.J. Stroud ain't no cautionary tale. C.J. Stroud, hey, welcome to the NFL. You can be on a Super Bowl level team 1 year, and the next year, you not only lose players to free agency, lose players to trades, lose players because of contracts. You can turn around and lose players to injury. Welcome to the big leagues. This is the NFL. No year is promised. No year is promised. Everyone thought the Detroit Lions were going to the Super Bowl last year, only for their defense to get decimated. No one thought the Eagles were going to the Super Bowl, even mid-season. Sometimes you need some luck along with playing well. Welcome to the big leagues. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. He says, why does PFF have Joe Burrows living off a good... Say it again, Chanel. He had 1 good season as far as wins go. Now, he did have a good season last year, statistically, but not as far as wins went. They said that they put Dak Prescott in the category of needs more help. So you don't think Justin Herbert needs more help? Anybody who don't think Justin Herbert needs more help, ask Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert will tell you in a heartbeat. Justin Herbert will tell you he needs more help. Because they all need help. And that is actually the myth about these great quarterbacks. When you look at all these great quarterbacks, they all had help. I mean, Troy Aikman won 3 Super Bowls, man. He was on a super team. He's on a doggone super team. I mean, they all need help. Troy Aikman was not Troy Aikman until he got what he needed. And when I see people talking like this, it just shows you that, they're just biased. I mean, facts are facts. I mean, we can talk about certain things, but when you just start saying things for the sake of saying them because you have a bias, and that's why I say we got some fake, we have some fake Cowboy fans. I'm sorry, we do. They'll be talking about Dak Prescott as if he's not a Dallas Cowboy. They'll be talking about Dak Prescott as if he's not a Dallas Cowboy. And they get mad that you try to defend Dak Prescott, who is a Dallas Cowboy. And they think you're only defending him because he's Dak Prescott, like he's your cousin or like he's your uncle or somebody in your family or like he's paying you. No, Dak Prescott is a part of the team. He's the starting quarterback. And actually, his play speaks for itself. Our problem is we don't want the play of the team to speak for itself. And the deficiency has been the team, the overall team. But I'm happy this year that we are on our way to fixing that. We're on our way to fixing that. And I want to see, because I'm not sure, but everything I'm seeing in the offseason, I know we're going to be better. The question is, how good are we going to be? And when I think about our opening game, when I think about the schedule that we have, I'm actually elated the Cowboys have the schedule they have. I'm elated the Cowboys have the schedule that they have. Because you know what? I want all of us to remember. I want all of us to remember what people said about the Cowboys schedule. Everybody keeps talking about how difficult the schedule is. I don't want to hear the schedule actually wasn't that difficult when the Cowboys start wiping teams off that schedule. When the Cowboys start beating these good teams, I don't want to hear nothing about, yeah, man, the schedule was actually easy. Yeah, because they always move the goalpost. So I don't want to see the goalpost being moved. But I do think the Cowboys they're going to be a lot better than what people are. Rennie, man, you in Brazil? Oh, okay, I see you. Yes, sir. Motivation Insights, what's going on? He said, I see the offense has added a weapon, but the defense is what worries me. I think we need to pump the brakes because the offense will be on extreme stress to produce. I'm going to come back to your comment. Because there's something that Micah Parsons said that is leaning into the comment that you just made. Let me go back up here. I want to come back to your comment later on in the show. Quinn Scott, he says, Pro Football Focus must be high. Making this list because I might call him and ask him what you smoking on. Yep, man, they crazy, man. Katharina Kiss, what's going on? Good to see you tonight. Yeah, Quinn, they crazy. Dak is 17. Wish I would be. I would love to see the day he's 17 PFF. What you smoking? Yeah, they crazy. Yeah, you saying you'd like to know what they smoking? Man, yeah. Q-Town said that means the panel on Get Up a bias. Glad there are channels like yours that keep it real. Man, these guys know that. Man, they know what they're doing. They know that this is going. Did y'all notice? Let me tell you what these people know. They know without a shadow of a doubt. No one's going to care where you put anybody on that list except for Dak Prescott. That's the only quarterback anybody cares about. No one else cares where the other quarterbacks are on that list. Only Dak Prescott. The moment that list comes out, everybody says, okay, let's see what Dak Prescott is. Because if he's top 10 or top 5, the Dak Prescott haters say he shouldn't be that high. If he's 15 and below, the haters say, yeah, Dak Prescott got exposed, or Dak Prescott isn't this. Somebody's finally telling the truth. And then they get mad when people like me and others start coming back with facts showing where if you're saying this about Dak and he's 17, then there's no way that the players that you have up here in 7, 8, 9, 10, you can't say that they are what they are. Because last time I checked, Justin Herbert doesn't have an All-Pro. And if you don't think second-team All-Pro or first-team All-Pro is a big deal, go check the criteria. Yeah, that's saying something when you're an All-Pro, man. That's saying you're top. That's saying that you are top in your position in that season. Can somebody tell me the All-Pro Justin Herbert has? Can somebody tell me the All-Pro that Geno Smith has? Do we not realize that Josh Allen just now got he just now got an All-Pro? Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, all these guys in front of Dak Prescott, no All-Pros. Can anybody tell me when any of those quarterbacks have had 3 12-win seasons? Any of them? 3 12-win seasons? It's a regular, and from when they get to Justin Herbert, I mean, they really go off the rails. Oh yeah, if you're looking at non-clutch moments, man, what the heck is what non-clutch moments? So we're giving a quarterback credit for non-clutch moments? Boy, these people, man, they got to miss me with this nonsense. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. But again, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll circle the block on that. Because I want to make sure we get to this shoddy, because I don't think we listened to all of it the other day. I don't think we listened to all of it. So we're going to listen to the rest of it. Andre Mosley. Now, the argument that you're making is a separate argument. If you want to talk about the playoffs, we can go there. Anybody who wants to go there, we can go there. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the ranking. And to put Dak Prescott at number 17, When if you're saying that Dak must prove it, so then we got to say, so when did those other quarterbacks prove it? Because Justin Herbert hasn't proved, for as good as everyone say Justin Herbert is, for the contract that he got, somebody tell me, explain to me where he's good. Explain to me where he has earned a top 10. A top 10 ranking. It's crazy. But we'll circle the block on it. All right, let's get to this thing with... Let's get to this thing. Let's get back to this Brian Schottenheimer thing. I want to say we finished it, but I don't remember. I should have wrote it down in my notes over here. But I mean, I thought we didn't finish it. The ghost of Mike McCarthy, remind me, did we finish it? But I thought we said we were coming back to it. Let's see here. Okay, because where I am, I see where we didn't finish it. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to finish up this Mike McCarthy thing, and then we're going to go to our OTA news, and then we'll circle back around on this whole PFF focus thing if y'all want to.
How do you feel about the health of the position where it's at now, and who will actually be able to participate at this point in the offseason program?
I feel good about it. I think the draft was big for us with Savone. I think, we wanted to, add some depth at that spot. Kaiir Elam has been just awesome for us.
Okay, let's get back to this question right here.
We kind of monitor
a lot of offseason additions. Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, cornerback was one of the positions where you made a lot of offseason additions. How do you feel about the health of the position where it's at now, and who will actually be able to participate at this point in the offseason program?
I feel good about it. I think the draft was big for us with Savone. I think, we wanted to, add some depth at that spot. Kaiir Elam has been just awesome for us. We do a thing where we kind of monitor the top speeds each week that our guys have hit in phase 2 out there running, and he's had one of the fastest times each week, which is great. Trayvon, Duran, getting Kalen Carson back. He's moving around a lot better now. I feel like, again, we won't know. We won't put timetables on the injured guys, but I think you'll see early on in training camp that the depth should be there for us.
Fine.
Okay. I want y'all to think about this. I told y'all this before. The Cowboys are banking big on Kaiir Elam. The Cowboys are banking on Kaiir Elam, y'all. I said it before, I'll say it again. Do not let the fact the Cowboys did not pick up Kaiir Elam's 5th-year option fool you. Don't let that fool you. The reason why they didn't pick up that 5th-year option, number one, is that they feel like it's way too steep. Number two, they're hoping they're going to be able to negotiate a contract with him if he turns out to be good. And I think Kaiir Elam is going to be good with this team. Kaiir Elam is a part of the plan. They're hoping he turns out. And that's why you notice, what does Brian Schottenheimer say? Kaiir Elam is looking good. And now he's talking about his speed. He's talking about Kaiir Elam. And I'm telling you, man, this pickup, Kaiir Elam, was so good. He was so good for this team. A former first-round pick, and the only reason why the Buffalo Bills kind of said, okay, because the guy that they drafted, I think along with him, he started panning out really well. They had another cornerback that started panning out really well, and they were not willing to wait on Kaiir Elam to get back up to speed. So now the Cowboys have him. And Kaiir Elam is the kind of, he's in the perfect position. This is a season for Kaiir Elam to get a contract. And if he don't get it with the Cowboys, he can get it somewhere else. So it would behoove him to ball out with the Cowboys. And again, OTAs is not really where you're not necessarily going to see, like, okay, what's really going on per se. But it gives you a feel for the energy. It gives you a feel for the skill. It gives you a feel for the talent. But you're not going to really see what it is until you get in the training camp and get an opportunity to get some pads on sometimes. But as far as what they're seeing and saying right now, Kaiir Elam, and this is what he's reporting on, Kaiir Elam, looking pretty good. Kaiir Elam is looking pretty good. He is. He's looking pretty good. I think they're very pleased with Kaiir Elam. So let's I think he's a part of the plan. I think the Cowboys are happy with that. Of course, they're getting Kalen Carson back, and then we'll see what some of these other guys. Because, again, one of our concerns, if we're talking about being a championship team, and if you're talking about doing what Brian Schottenheimer talked about, building from the outside in, cornerbacks, because sometimes they're on an island by themselves, you actually want Kaiir Elam to be a part of this plan. Because right now they've been working DaRon Bland out in the slot. From what I saw, there was a report that DaRon Bland, Clarence Hill was talking about this, that DaRon Bland, in a contract year, DaRon Bland does not want to be in the slot. All right, Q-Time, appreciate you. He does not want to be in the slot in a contract year because he would cost himself somewhere around, $10 million at least? $10 million? If he got a contract somewhere else, he might be costing himself somewhere between $5 and $10 million. Or, being on the outside, he's probably going to get that contract with the Cowboys. It would cost him about $10 million. It's the same reason why Micah Parsons, even though he wasn't brought on to be a defensive end, has turned out to be a defensive end, and he ain't trying to go to linebacker. He's not taking linebacker money because that defensive end money is crazy. Miss Matrix in the crib, she said, hit that like button. I agree. Yeah, DaRon Bland does not want that money. Man, he want that outside money. He want that outside money. He want that outside receiver money. He ain't trying to get that. He ain't trying to get that slot receiver money. He ain't trying to get that. And so it is important. And it would be great, I'm pretty sure in their minds, if Kaiir Elam could find himself working maybe into that slot position. Let him work into that into that position. And so this is kind of where they are with Kaiir Elam.
Saudis, The Athletic, Brian. You've talked about culture a lot the last few months. Just curious, when you acquire a guy like George Pickens, who has some question marks in that regard, where he's coming from, how do you integrate him and how do you make sure it's a smooth transition?
Well, I think we did a ton of research into GP. Again, my interaction with GP has been incredible. I think he's going to fit in awesome with what we're trying to do here. You guys have talked to him, I think, over the phone, and he's all about, a new opportunity. So, we all change, we all adjust, we all grow. I'm thrilled with the way the guys have responded to him. Again, him and CD. It's a chance for he and CD. They've trained together. They're spending time together. I don't know what event they were at the other day where, they were some baseball game or something. But when we did our homework on GP, we don't have those concerns. And we're bringing him into a culture that we feel like he'll thrive just like everybody else. Why? Because it's important to us. And we're going to get to know him and learn his story just like we're learning the stories of Solomon Thomas and, David Overstreet and everybody else.
And when it does come to culture, how important is Dak just to the entire operation of you setting that tone the way that you want to?
We want Dak to play quarterback to the best of his ability. He's a great culture piece because he's such a good dude, and he's such a great teammate, and his story is incredible. But when you talk about culture, it's more than just one guy, and that's what I think I'm so excited about with all the new pieces that we've added. And it probably sounds coach speak, but it's really not. We've added.
Whoa! Stop the press! Stop the press! This is the part I want to hear. Can we stop? And Brian Schottenheimer is already getting away from this. Can they stop putting everything on the shoulders of Dak Prescott? Can they stop putting everything on the shoulders of Dak Prescott? See, I think Brian Schottenheimer saw this while he was in the cut. Brian Schottenheimer saw this in the cut. He's looking and he's noticing. Why are we putting everything on this guy? Why are we putting everything on the quarterback? When the Seattle Seahawks won a Super Bowl with the Legion of Boom, do we think they put everything on the shoulders of Russell Wilson? No. The Philadelphia Eagles in the first Super Bowl in 2022, they put all of the responsibility on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts. And they wound up losing that Super Bowl 35-38. They came back in 2024, and Howie Roseman said, can we get some pressure off of Jalen Hurts? How do we get some pressure off of Jalen Hurts? Come back with an unbelievable defense. Come back with an unbelievable defensive line. Come back with a good offensive line. Make sure you lock your wide receiver duo up early. And what can put the icing on the cake for this team? We've seen this team with Jalen Hurts. We've even seen this team with Jalen Hurts with a good defensive line. We've seen them in 2022. We saw what it looked like. What can we do to get over the hump? How about we take some of the pressure off of Jalen Hurts to make every doggone play? How about we get someone else in here that can make a play that he doesn't have to throw it to him? He just hands it to him. Let's go get Saquon Barkley. That's what the Eagles did. You take pressure off the quarterback. This is where the Buffalo Bills failed in the playoffs. Up until that last game, the AFC Championship game. They ran the ball. They took the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, and they only let him do things in picked spots. Got to the Kansas City game. We reverted back to Josh Allen all over again. Baltimore Ravens, what did they try to do? Take something off the plate of Lamar Jackson. They brought in Derrick Henry. Rather than letting Lamar Jackson be all the offense, how about we bring in somebody else that can give some of the offense? I think their problem was they didn't have, I think Flowers was out. And that kind of hurt them. And I don't know what the game plan was necessarily, but they got locked into Lamar Jackson or bust again. They should have kept running the ball. They should have kept trying to establish the run. They didn't do it. They abandoned it, and it went back to Lamar Jackson. And what happened when it went back to Lamar Jackson? They lost the game. Brian Schottenheimer is smart in what he's doing. We know Dak is the leader of the team. But you got to stop putting all the responsibility on Dak Prescott. Because I don't know about you, but not everyone can do that. I mean, we've only seen very few that you can put everything on their shoulders. And even then, they're still going to need help. Even then, they're going to need help. The best thing you can do for your quarterback is to take some of the responsibility off of him. Hey, Dak, yeah, you're the leader of the team, but there are other leaders on the team. Yeah, there are other leaders. I felt like with Mike McCarthy was here, it was Dak Prescott who was the driving voice for Mike McCarthy. But I didn't necessarily hear everyone else driving his philosophy the way Dak was trying to. See, Brian Schottenheimer is smart. He's not just getting the quarterback to buy in. He's getting everybody to buy in. If y'all don't remember, Darren Woodson and Michael Irvin both talked about this phenomenon. When you create a culture where there are leaders on the team, not just the leader. The leader is fine. We want leaders. We want leaders. Because when you have leaders on the team, Leaders hold each other accountable. Iron sharpens iron. We all realize we have a responsibility. We all want to do our part. We all want to help the next man do his part. And we either live and succeed as a team, or we lose and we die as a team. That's not how we've been. Our mentality has been, and I'm telling you, people do not understand how this team has looked at Dak Prescott. Well, Dak Prescott is that good. If we're not doing this or if we're not doing that, well, Dak will make up the slack. Dak is good for 4 tubs today. Dak can score 35. Dak can score 40 points today. We got to get out of that mentality. And I think this is where Brian Schottenheimer is, and this is what he's doing. He knows Dak is the leader, but Dak can't be the only culture driver. The whole team needs to be driving the culture. The entire team. Because if the entire team isn't driving the culture, then nothing really matters in the grand scheme of things. Nothing really matters. And so this is where Shotty is. I can feel exactly where he is. Because we cannot fall back into this mode of operation. Cannot fall back into this mode of operation. Yeah, I got you, Miss Majors. You're my night crew. We can't fall back into this mode of operation. When you build a winning culture, everybody has to be in on the culture. And I'm telling you, it always seemed like to me with you know, you ever notice people call Dak Prescott a company man? Why do they call him a company man? Because it seemed like Dak Prescott was the only one preaching the company's message. He was the only one. Everyone else was kind of like, yeah, we just here so we don't get fined. I mean, we're here to play the game. We want to win. We hope we win. No, Shotty, man, this dude was taking notes. He's like, nah, man, we got to get this mentality out of here. And I'm so glad that this is where he is. C-Base, he said if they stop putting everything on Dak Prescott, they can actually get a shot at the trophy. It's facts. Shotty is smart, man. Shotty is smart in what he's doing. Yeah, Shotty said culture more in the last 2 minutes than Big Mike said in the last 4 years. Michael Towery. Yeah. My man Jared, he said, G. Russell Wilson had an all-time great defense. Facts. And was looking at an all-time great halfback in Marshawn Lynch. Facts. We saw him run through the entire New Orleans Saints defense. Beast mode. An elite halfback in his era for sure. Facts on top of facts. Katharina Kiss. She said they need this is a team game. Dak can't carry the team on his shoulders. Dak got some targets, finally. Katharina Kiss. And the next thing we need to do, we have to solidify our run game. We have to solidify our run game. We got to see what that run game is going to look like. We're going to see what Javonte Williams. It seems like to me that Javonte Williams is the one they're going to lean on. I think that Sanders is going to be the odd man out. Lisa said Dak is getting what he needs and some help to go ahead and win that Super Bowl. Yeah. And, hey, Lisa, they can't stop here, though. This still isn't enough. Because if we're talking about Super Bowl, I mean, right now, this is a good start. I mean, the Cowboys are going to win this season. Again, I think they're going to win a playoff game. This is a good start. But if you're trying to get that chip and you want to put yourself in position to say, you never know what's going to happen, so let us be prepared with the absolute best team we can get, well, they probably need to go out there and say, we're not going to bank on. I think the linebacking crew is going to be good. But they also need to, I think they have been keeping in mind, okay, Overshown might not be back this season. But if he comes back late in the season and if we're on a playoff run, okay, we got linebacker. But that defensive tackle position, I guess I'm going to have to be the only one to say it. this isn't just about veteran presence. And let's just be 100% honest. This is not just about veteran presence. I think we are saying that we are not sure that Mozzie Smith is going to be or going to take that next step in his third year. And we are saying that we don't want to be caught with Mozzie Smith not being ready, knowing that Jay Toia is not ready yet to step right in and be a starting offensive or a starting one-tech defensive tackle in this league. He's not ready for that yet. So that means that I know what everyone is saying, they just don't want to say it out loud. We need to get some insurance for Mozzie Smith. Because if we think Mozzie Smith is going to be great, then the Cowboys, if they think he's going to be great, then why would they go get a one-tech? Because they're saying he is the one-tech. And that Jay Toia, for whatever little places he'll fill in, it won't be that much because you got him. But a lot of people are saying they don't want a rookie as the insurance in case he don't turn out, or number two, if he gets hurt. I know what we're saying. We might not want to say it like I'm saying it, but I know what we're saying. So I would say the Cowboys, if they're talking about a championship, now that you got George Pickens, yeah, it'd probably do good when he got a one-tech. And I mean a good one. I think the Cowboys should actually go get a good one. I don't think that one-tech is in free agency. I think that one-tech is on somebody's team. And I really think the Cowboys, if they can find one that they want to have for the next 3 to 4 years, man, who cares? Give up a second-round draft pick, but he better be that doggone good. Or give up a fourth-round draft pick, but he better be good. He better be good for sure. My man Jared says Josh Allen against the Chiefs aired the ball out like crazy. It was insane. Yeah, they went back to the same old Josh Allen. They got him the same old results. So let's listen to some more. Let's finish up Shoddy. But, man, I love what he's saying, man. You got to take some of this stuff off Dak Prescott. You have to.
And all these new pieces. So it's our job as a coaching staff to get these guys to hang out together outside of the building, spend time together in the building, get to know each other. Coaches get with their players, go to dinner.
Wait. Boy, let me tell y'all got to hear what this man is saying. Do y'all remember what Dak Prescott said early in the season last year? Dak was saying some of the weirdest stuff to me. I mean, it wasn't weird. I knew what he was saying. But it was like he was endorsing Mike McCarthy, but indicting him at the same time. Saying stuff like we're not practicing hard. But I don't know if y'all remember. Dak Prescott had another comment that I thought was very strange. Dak was equating players not practicing hard, it seemed, players not being where they're supposed to be during the games on the field. It seemed that Dak was equating that with what are players doing when they're not in the building? Let me translate Brian Schottenheimer, if you're not catching it. I got to keep up with what guys are doing outside the building. Oh, y'all catching this? I got to keep up with what guys are doing outside the building. So the way I keep up with what guys are doing outside of this building, I want to put a mindset in them that when y'all are not in the building, I need y'all hanging out together. Because if y'all are hanging out together, y'all will be talking about football when you're out together. Y'all will be talking about the game. It also builds this sense of camaraderie. It builds this sense of, you're my brother. I got your back. You got mine. Accountability. We're accountable to one another. We can't let each other fail. This is what he's building. This was one of the problems that Dak Prescott was talking about last year. Boy, I'm telling y'all, I was telling y'all when I first started this channel, boy, if you listen to Dak Prescott, he will tell you so many things. Dak said, what are guys doing when they're not in the building? Yeah, what are they doing when they're not in the building? Because Dak is saying something. See, when I'm not in the building, I'm studying football. Do y'all remember when they were showing, I think it was one of these documentaries with Tom Brady? What was Tom Brady doing when he wasn't in the building? Tom Brady was getting his muscles stretched, or whatever the guy, the guru that was with him, was doing. He was getting his muscles stretched out, eating avocado ice cream, and sitting in front of a screen, a monitor, going through play after play after play after play. And then if he saw something on the film, Tom said he would call up. He called up the OC. Hey, what about this right here? What the guy's doing outside the building? Let me let you hear it again. After I've told you what I told you, let me let you hear it again. Brian Schottenheimer, boy, this dude was taking mad notes. Stu was taking mad notes. This dude is making sure his team, he knows what they're doing outside the building. He's not going to step up to a podium and say, well, I don't know what these guys are doing. When they're not in the building, they can do what they want to do. No, I know what they're doing when they're not in the building. They're telling me. They're telling me. They're posting it on social media. Whatever they're doing, they're telling me. Listen to him again.
Sounds coach speak, but it's really not. We've added all these new pieces. So it's our job as a coaching staff to get these guys to hang out together out.
Why? Why do you want them to hang out together? You want to know what they're doing outside the building. Listen.
Outside of the building, spend time together in the building, get to know each other. Coaches get with their players, go to dinner, do
go to dinner. So if the coaches go to dinner with the players, they know what the players are doing outside the building. You catch what's going on? Do you catch what's going on? This is what Dak Prescott was complaining about last year. He's going to know full well what they're doing outside of the building one way or another. He is building in accountability. I'm telling you, this is powerful. This dude, this dude been reading some psychology books.
Things together because we have to learn each other's stories and each other's scars so that we can truly learn how to work together and love one another and support one another. We're all going to have good days and bad days, and that's not just something we talk about. It's something we do. I take a lot of these guys to dinner. Why? Okay, it's important to me. Do I have things I could be doing? Of course I do, but there's nothing more important than me getting to know some of these players.
Scholar.
Miss Matrix, you talking about that one tech D tackle? Yeah, you said I'd like to see a proven one. And again, hey, I know what we're saying. We just don't want to say it. But hey, we're not sure Mazi Smith is going to be Mazi Smith. If you're talking about this one tech, we're not sure this man's going to make a step. And the one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to be caught not being able to stop the run again with a team like this. With a team like this, Dak Prescott healthy, and you get the Cowboys to where they can stop the run. Now, Miss Matrix. Now, we got another problem here. This is why I'm very patient, and I want to see what the Cowboys are going to do post June 1st. Because the one thing we know the Cowboys are going to be able to do, they are going to be able to rush the passer. This doggone team got so many pass rushers, man. It is insane when you think about it. I mean, we got doggone Micah Parsons, Dante Fowler, Donovan Ezeraku, Sam Williams. Come on, Peyton Turner. I mean, this team has so many pass rushers. Also, Digizua even. This team has so many pass rushers. It's insanity. But where are our run stoppers? Because if you can't put teams in passing situations, the pass rush ain't going to matter too much. We got to be able to put them in passing. If we're going to put them in passing situations, then we need to make sure that our back end is shored up. The linebacker crew, I'm not worried about. I think we're good there too. I think we will be able to stop the run from the linebacking position also. But we need to be able to stop the run from the 4-down linemen too. We need to be able to stop the run there too. We need some guys that can clog up that middle. Clog up that middle. We need that. So not only do they need to address that one tech, they're going to have to ask themselves in the next month, are they secure with Savon Revel Jr.? And I know he will be a beast, but are they sure that him as a rookie, coming off of a knee injury, is going to be able to step into the pro game that is probably going to be 5 to 10 times faster than what he's ever played at, East Carolina? The speed of this game is going to be so much different. The power of the players he's going to be playing against, so much different. The skill level of the wide receivers he's going to be playing against, so much different. Are you confident that he's going to be a day one starter? Now, he's a big dude. This is the pros. Are you ready to go with him as the starter? DaRon Bland playing inside and out. Kyer Elam playing outside. Kason Carson doing whatever he does. I'm expecting Stephon Diggs to be with the Dallas Cowboys this year. I'm expecting Stephon Diggs to be with the Dallas Cowboys this year. I don't think Stephon Diggs stopped by just for a cup of coffee. I'm expecting Stephon Diggs to be with the Cowboys this year. They really do need to shore up that cornerback room. So, Savon Revel Jr., let's let him get up to speed. Now, if he comes out and dominates in training camp, okay, hey, that's great too. But even then, do you want to leave it to, if something doesn't go right with him during the season, do you want to leave it to the guys that we have? I do believe the Kyer Elam I think he's going to be pretty good. But I think if they're talking championship this year, now if you're not saying this we're in win now mode, well, okay, the guys that you have, go roll with them. Just like you did last year. Well, roll with the young guys. Let's see where we are, and then we'll get some more next year, and then we'll make the chip run, because that's when I think we're going to make the chip run. But with George Pickens, the Cowboys could possibly make the chip run this season. So they need to address that one tech, and I do think they need to address that cornerback room. And I don't even think this is just for veteran presence. No, they need to get a starter in there. They need to get a starter in that thing. And that starter, to me, needs to be probably somebody like Stephon Gilmore. You bring in Stephon Gilmore, I think he immediately helps you to say, okay, DaRon Bland, Stephon Gilmore outside. We've seen it before, and we liked it. Both of those guys outside. We can work in Savon Revel Jr., because I think he could probably play inside too. You can either have him inside, outside, teach him the inside, let him work inside, outside, and then Kyer Elam, also let him get him some work in. So that when you have nickel situations, you can play those two guys. Because you don't just need sometimes 3 cornerbacks on the field. Every now and then you might need 4 or 5. So the Cowboys really need to shore up this thing on defense, because I really think the defense is going to be the key here. The defense is going to be the key. Because even with Tyler Guyton, I mean, I don't know, I know a lot of us, I don't know about y'all, but I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know if Tyler Guyton's going to make a step. I hope that he does. But with the 3 that we have in the middle, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, and Tyler Booker, we will be able to hit those A and B gaps. We will still be able to get inside runs. So we can get that push and get those inside runs. And the guy who I'm hoping that really turns it on is Phil Maffa, because I'm telling you, you turn on this dude tape, he's big and he's fast. And, of course, Jaden Blue, he's fast. If you can get them through those gaps, you'll make those edge guys like, oh, wait, hold on a second. Let's hold up a second. Is this a run? If you can run to the edges even, and I do think that Guyton and Steele will be able to pass block better. I mean, run block better than pass block. So I'm not really worried about the Cowboys as much on offense as I am worried about them on defense if we're talking about championship. You got to put teams in passing situations. And then when you put them in the passing situations, you got to make sure that if you don't get to that quarterback, the wide receivers don't need to be running wide open. The wideouts and the tight ends don't need to be running wide open in that secondary. But again, we're going to see. But I like what you said there. Let me get a couple more comments. Miss Major said, I love how Dak has never had anything to say and continues to collect his checks. True leader in boss moves. Yeah, let the haters hate. Catherine says, G, after this season, Dak will make these so-called fans and talking heads spin. Just watch. Oh, yeah, make their heads spin. Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I do. I agree with you. Ghost of Mike McCarthy. The ghost of Mike McCarthy says, Dak's buddy spot is 30 to 35 attempts a game. I think it's actually 25. 25 to 30, but 30 to 35 ain't going to hurt me either. 30 to 35 attempts a game with a solid run game behind him to give him a lethal play action threat. Exactly. Yeah. Sam Rios, appreciate it. He said spitting them facts. Yeah, I'm telling you. Let's get some more shotty. I'm going to come back to your comments. What's going on, Lost in Translation? What's going on? Yeah, we need a monster in the middle of the defense. And I know, let's be honest tonight. I think we're afraid that Mozzie isn't going to be that monster in the middle. I think we're afraid that Mozzie isn't going to be the monster in the middle. Let's go.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. You're kind of jumping into the deep end on the business of football and your debut as a head coach with Mike, the situation. I just kind of wondered your philosophy with that. Is that something you just kind of a taboo topic, or is it something you from time to time kind of see where Mike's headspace is as it relates to that kind of thing?
No, I'm open and honest with all the players.
SEO companies charge
when Mike is here, I want him to be the best version of himself when he's here. This is no different than Zach, a couple years ago, and CD. Like, this is big business. This is a National Football League, and there's negotiations, and there's things that go into it, and we all have advisors. I have an agent. We have advisors, we have agents, and so it's our job to support all of these guys. Again, take Micah's name out of it. It doesn't matter. Insert name, and I'm going to support him and talk to him. And, hey, what do you need from me? What can I be doing for you? Hey, I'd love to have you here for this. If you can't be here, I get it. It's all voluntary. And I think people do well with very clear, bright lines. And if I'm calling a player and begging him to come, but yet I don't take the time to go and support him at a foundation event or go take him to dinner, then do I really have what's in their best interest? And if our players ever say I don't have their best interest, then I'm not doing my job, and I'm not being authentic to myself.
Now, see, the warfare is in the mind. Brian Schottenheimer's saying something. Just pay attention to what he's saying. He's not going to these things that they're having for nothing. Did you catch what he said there? Yeah. When these guys have stuff, I'm showing up. I want them to understand that it's not just about football. Y'all ready? Watch this part. But I also want them to understand football is not just about the business. You catch what he's doing? I'm showing you by what I'm doing. This is not just about football. So when you got a foundation, you got something special going on, hey, man, I'm going to show up. Because this isn't just about football. This is about a football team, a football family. So if the family has something, and if I can make it, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up and I'm going to support you. Why? Because it's about the football family. But if you got a contract issue going on, boy, I just wonder if he could have been. I just wonder if he'd have been here last year. Hey! If there's if there is something, if you got a contract thing going on, the business of football, don't let the business of football get in the way of the football team, the football family. We know you're dealing with the business, but we have OTAs. They're voluntary. There's no hitting at OTAs. There are walkthroughs at OTAs. Now, if you don't want to do the run-throughs, we understand. But can you still be there for the walkthroughs? Can you still be there for the leadership purposes? Can you still be there for the sake of the football team? Don't let the football business totally destroy the football team, the football family stuff. And so this is where he's going. See, I'll come to your stuff. But I'm coming to this stuff with the expectation that you understand that there'll be things that I'll be asking you to do while you're in the midst of your contract negotiation. If it's not going to require you to exert your body to where you'll get hurt or could possibly get hurt, could you please come? It's good for the team morale. Man, this dude is smart what he's doing. It's very smart what he's doing. Because a lot of people would just say, oh, man, hey, man, it's football business. It is what it is. I'm not going to be in that. I'm not going to touch that. That's between Micah and the team. No, it's not. No, it's not. No. Now, we need to deal with this. Now, man, you need to be here. In so many frank words, hey, bro, you need to be here. You need to be here. It's good for the team because you're eventually going to get your contract. Man, you're getting your contract. You're getting your contract, man. Get in here. It's good for the team. It's good for the team. It is. No, the tush push didn't get banned. It's good for the team. Morris Newton says Schottenheimer is going to be a lot more imaginative for this team where McCartney couldn't keep track of the clock. Clock in lots of situations among other problems. Yeah, he's going to coach the team. See, he's not going to be like Mike. Mike didn't coach the team. He's going to coach the team. I love Weed said Mozzie has better stats in 2024 than Jordan Davis. Yeah, I guess I love Weed. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to be good enough. We're going to need more than that. Yeah, the tush push is here to stay for now. I'll give it one more year. We'll see what happens. Motivation Insight says, Shotty got what you can't teach. And it has nothing to do with all his experience. He can motivate players to run through walls for him. He will get better effort out of these guys. Motivation Insights. This is what the leaders do. The leaders don't tell you what to do. They don't try to make you do. They know how to make you want to do. And when they make you want to do because of what they do for you, you get maximum effort. You get maximum effort, man. You do. You get maximum effort out of people like that. Maximum effort. It's smart. It's very smart. Yeah, hey, C-Base, this is all I'm waiting on. That was one of the 12 things I'm waiting on during OTAs, post June 1st. That was number 12 for me. I'm waiting to see what happens after June 1st. And I think that Jerry and Steven are going to pounce on some of these players. And I've been hearing DJ Reader. Boy, I keep hearing DJ Reader to the Cowboys. Boy, they get DJ Reader to the Cowboys. Boy, you're not going to be able to contain this fan base. Boy, you're not going to be able to contain this fan base. Lisa Worley, I think Javonte Williams is probably going to start. Don't think he's going to finish as the starter. This doggone Phil Maffa, I'm telling you, he's a freight train. He's an absolute freight train for sure. It goes to Mike McCarthy. The way they wrote the rule was too vague. If you're a wide receiver / running back that's looking to cross the first down line and an O-line comes up behind to help you, then that would be illegal under the way they wrote it. Yeah, they're gonna have to. You watch what I tell you. They're gonna implement some rules. If they don't outlaw the tush push, they're going to implement some rules that's going to basically neutralize it. The guru was Alex Guerrero. Okay, yeah, you're talking about that psychology. Oh man, the ghost of Mike McCarthy. I had my ice cream for the night. I went over to I forgot the name of the place again. Andy's. Catherine Kiss. Yes, I'm telling you. Yeah, this dude is smart in what he's doing. He's very smart in what he's doing. Michael Towery, it's about becoming one instead of 53 individuals or 4 or 5 groups. Michael Towery, that was one of the things I couldn't stand about this team. They seem to be a bunch of individuals. Emmitt Smith, I think, said it, 53 brands. That's what they seem like, 53 brands. Offense and the defense, they were 2 different things. Katharina said, don't want to be caught off guard with Mozzie and guidance penalties. I think that's where a lot of us are. Now, Austin Richards is the answer for Tyler Guyton. Austin Richards is the answer for him. But as far as Mozzie, I know what everyone's saying. No, we don't want the dude draft pick Jay to be it. We need to go get somebody else. Goes to Mike McCarthy. OTAs are good for marks like Mozzie. If you know what you're looking for, then you can see fast how prepared he's looking going into training camp. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Motivation Insight said the Cowboys defense, he said, needs to tighten up on the run and create more turnovers. Yeah. And again, I think from the defensive end position, from the linebacker position, oh man, it's gonna be crazy. But you got to be able to stop the run, or you'll rarely be able to rush the passer. You'll barely be able to rush the passer. So you got to be able to put teams in passing positions. And then you got to be able to have somebody that can defend the pass or get them interceptions. Yeah, Lisa Worley, that's it. That was what I said. They got to be like a family. Yeah, Trayvon, he meant Trayvon Diggs, okay. Ms. Major said, okay. Not sure what's going on here, but I'm reading this while eating actual ice cream. So, I don't know. Somebody mentioned ice cream, and we went from there. Are you sure he meant Diggs or Gilly? Because now I'm confused. Okay, if you're talking about me, I'm talking about the Cowboys bringing in Stephon Gilmore. Now, I'm not sure. I don't think I heard him mention Gilmore, but I think they need to bring in Stephon Gilmore. Oh, Stephon Diggs. Oh, got you. Yeah, forgive me. Trayvon Diggs. Y'all forgive me. Yeah, it's Trayvon Diggs. Yeah, Trayvon Diggs. I got you. Yeah, Trayvon Diggs. I'm sorry. I keep saying Stephon Diggs. Forgive me on that. Yeah, Sam Williams going to be good because he got to prove himself. He better. Sam Williams better. This team is too good. This team is too good right now to be even jacking around a little bit. All right, it looks like I don't see anything on my side, Miss Matrix. See if you can redo your browser. Okay, you said it's buffering for you a little bit too? All right. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can, let's see.
Had a chance to build a really strong relationship with Dak over a few years. I just wondered how.
All right, hold on a second. All right, I make sure. I don't see anything on my end. Let me make sure. All right, everything looks good here. All right, I seem to look good here. I don't see anything on my end. But y'all tell me if it improved. I closed a couple of windows and stuff like that. Lisa Worley said, Elam, I hope I'm saying his name right. It's going to play for Trayvon Diggs. Might even take a spot. Yeah, Kyrie Elam. Yeah, we're going to see what Kyrie Elam works in. Yeah. If Diggs forgets how to tackle again this season, then it'll be Elam's for the taking. And I do think Savon Revel Jr. is the guy that's going to take his spot ultimately. Yeah. Lisa said we are in win now. Now they building a championship this year. Yeah, if you're doing that, you got to go get that one tech. You're going to have to go get that one tech. Sam Rio says Shotty really sounds like a vet coach, and it's because he knows how to be a leader. First man he gets a leader. First man he gets me more dragged into the belief that we are going to be a dang-gone problem for everyone. For real. Oh, yeah. I'm with you. Yes, sir. Good morning, Lord Nova. What's going on? Yeah, Shotty got it all as a coach, Gary Bookwalter. See, again, it's a battle of the mind, and he's got that part down. Lisa said Shotty sounds like he's been waiting to be Dallas Cowboys head coach. He turned jobs down. Oh, man, it does, doesn't it? Boy, it does. I'm telling you, this dude was taking notes, man, when he was back there. This dude was taking notes. Okay, Miss Mason says it's clear now. It's been for a while. Okay, I got you. Oh, man, yeah, this dude is smart. He is. Yeah, walking like you're talking. It's facts, G. Yeah, this man is smart in what he's doing. Motivation Insight says, G, you got a good show going, man. Appreciate you. He said the sky's the limit for your commentary and show. He said you're very insightful and keeps confused folks in the know. Man, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. All right, let's see. Let's see what else Shotty says here, man. This dude, I'm telling you, boy, when you can really hear what this guy is saying, boy, this dude is a master at what he's doing as far as leadership goes. You have to look up this man in education background. He's crazy with it.
Him to come, but yet I don't take the time to go and support him at a foundation.
Yeah, I heard what you're saying.
Take him to dinner. Then do I really have what's in their best interest?
Mm-hmm.
And if our players ever say I don't have their best interest, then I'm not doing my job and I'm not being authentic to myself.
Yeah.
I had a chance to build a really strong relationship with Dak over a few years. I just wondered how that's maybe changes or evolves as you become a head coach versus being an assistant.
No, I don't think so. I think, like I said, I'm who I am, and Dak knows me maybe closer than more guys because I've spent more time with him just in terms of being in meetings and stuff. But there's really not anything that I wouldn't share, that I share with Dak, that I wouldn't share with anybody else. So I think, my relationship and, as a head coach is just as important with Osa and with Jaden Blue and Javonte Williams and Tyler Booker and insert name as it is with Dak.
Now, I want you to keep something in mind here. I want you to keep something in mind that he just talked about. This guy's kind of asking him a question kind of like, because you're now the head coach. Are you and Dak Prescott even closer? Has that relationship evolved and blah, blah, blah? Let me take you back again to some previous incidents. And again, formerly the dude now known as the ghost of Mike McCarthy. You're going to hear me talk about it again. But I'm just telling you, this is the stuff that Dak Prescott was doing or talking about. So I want you to think what Mike McCarthy did. When Mike McCarthy went back to Green Bay, y'all tell me, how many players did Mike McCarthy take to meet his parents? How many players? How many players did Mike McCarthy take to meet his family? While I wait on you to answer that, I'm also going to take you to another incident. Dak Prescott, while he was hurt, Dak Prescott made the comment of, I wish that Jerry would let Mike McCarthy run it the way that he wants to without interference. I'm paraphrasing, but do y'all remember that? So then the media comes back. And they asked Mike McCarthy about what Dak Prescott said. Do y'all remember what Mike McCarthy said? I don't know what Dak talking about. I mean, I got a lot of control here. And starts naming off the ways that he has control. And I said this when he said that. There is no way that Dak Prescott says what he says, unless it's what he's seeing and what he's being told or what he's discussed with Mike McCarthy. And I don't believe for a second that Dak Prescott said what he said without maybe some of that coming from Mike McCarthy. But what did Mike McCarthy do when asked about it? He threw Dak under the bus. And he said, I don't know what Dak Prescott is talking about. And James Jones even said that he was very, very upset with Mike McCarthy. That when they asked him about what Dak Prescott said, he threw Dak Prescott under the bus. Mike was the type of guy that'll talk to people and tell them stuff or say things around them that he may not say around others. Now, the reason why I'm saying all this, I just want you to catch the stuff that this dude is saying. Yeah, him and Dak's close. But he's not going to say anything to Dak Prescott that he's not going to say to anybody else. See, Brian wants to keep transparency. Brian doesn't want some of this nonsense that was going on when Mike was here. He doesn't want all this nonsense of he said, she said, paranoia, people talking, blah, blah, blah. This was one of the issues with Mike McCarthy. Brian Schottenheimer's killing all that stuff. Brian Schottenheimer and Dak Prescott are going to be close automatically because he's the quarterback. Dak's the quarterback. He's the coach. And he's the offense coordinator and the head coach. He's going to spend a lot of time with Dak Prescott naturally. Naturally. Not to mention, Dak has a very good football mind. Dak's going to be telling him also what does he like, what does he think, even what should they do. They're going to put all that together. But he's trying to be very smart in what he's doing. I'm not going to be a respecter of person. Boy, people can understand. That's what great leaders do. Great leaders do that. They are not going to be respecter of persons. It doesn't mean that there are not going to be certain players that they spend more time with. But when it comes to what they say, when it comes to what they do, when it comes to how they love, how they criticize, how they rebuke, encourage, he's saying something. If you listen to him, they're all going to get it. They're all going to get it. I'm not telling Dak something that I'm not going to tell anybody else. I'm not going to tell another player something I'm not going to tell anybody else. It is important for me to have a relationship with everybody. I hear you, bro. I hear you. I'm telling you, I hear what this dude is doing. I hear what he's doing. He's making sure that he doesn't make the same mistakes. This is what you call creating a family and an open door policy. It really is. And this man is, this man is really building a team. He really is. He's building a family, building a great culture. Richard Villegas, what's going on with you? Yeah, that Mike McCarthy, he couldn't not only manage the clock, he couldn't manage men either. Yeah, motivation insights. He said, man, Mike couldn't motivate a dog as he Mike couldn't motivate a dog as he's getting ready to feed him. Shotty is a day better energy and concern wise for the players, yeah, and coaches. Yeah, he's genius in what he's doing. He's genius in what he's doing. Mike couldn't motivate the ants around his food. Yeah, he's genius in what he's doing. Yeah, motivation. I like what you said here. Mike's locker room speeches were terrible. Boy, yeah. Guy was so lost on sidelines that he acted like he arrived to a game after halftime and he needed someone to fill in for him during crucial decisions. Oh, he's terrible. It's terrible. He was. And again, Katharina Kiss, I'm telling you, this dude, Brian Schottenheimer, man, he is genius in everything he's doing. He took notes on all the missteps, and he's making sure I'm not going to make those same missteps. This is what you call building trust. When all the players know that, hey, yeah, man, not playing favorites. You got to know how to do that. You got to know how to treat everybody equally. And don't play favorites. And even if you have a favorite, you make sure that you don't try and make that very apparent. I'm sure Brian Schottenheimer is very fond of Dak Prescott. Very fond of him. But I also believe that he's very careful in what he's doing. He doesn't want to create that same atmosphere that was here before. Because I'm going to tell you what happens when you have those type of things happening. And some people don't understand this. If you have children, I want you to think about what happens when you do more for one than you do for the others. Well, the children don't get mad at you. They get mad at your favorite. They might be mad at you, but they take it out on your favorite. They'll start doing things to your favorite child. People will gang up on the favorite. And the favorite, it isn't his fault that he's the favorite. It isn't her fault, she's the favorite. And rather than it being taken out on the person giving the favor, because in a lot of situations, you can't really do it to the person who's showing the favor, they take it out on the favorites. And I just wonder how some of these players felt about some of this stuff Mike McCarthy did. Somebody says, I don't think it would have mattered to other players if he took Dak Prescott to his house, met his family, and blah, blah, blah. That wouldn't have mattered to other players. You keep thinking that. You keep thinking that stuff don't matter to other people. Man, that stuff absolutely matters to other people. Man, they'll look at you all kinds of sideways. You got to be careful how you treat certain people, man. Especially when you're talking about a family and a team. Man, you got to manage so many personalities. You have to manage so many personalities. You have to be able to do it. As Tucker said, now obviously it's going to come down to execution on the game days. Exactly. How will this all fold out on this season? I'm so glad we got the Philadelphia Eagles the first game. The way the system is being set up for this squad is looking very interesting. I'm loving it. I love how it's all set up. I'm glad they got this hard schedule everybody's talking about. I'm glad. It's going to build so much character on this team. Gary Bookwalter. Shotty is very smart when it comes to culture. Exactly. He's genius.
Coach Sydney Staples, D210 Sports, as you have gotten to know a player like George Pickens, what is something that you've learned that has maybe surprised you about him?
It's a good question. I'm just beginning to get to know him. I feel like when you learn someone's story about just, their life and their journey and how they got here, I think there's always things that surprise you. I know a number of people that were at Georgia with him that just love the kid. They think the world of him. And my time, like I said, has been incredible just being around him. But it'd be a better question to ask me in another couple weeks when I've had a chance to spend more time with him. Because to me, that's going to be when I really, truly feel like I can say to you, Sydney, hey, yeah, I know him, and here's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
Whenever you're kind of looking at
Wait. Hold on a second. I'm telling y'all, this dude right here, man. This dude is genuine. Brian Schottenheimer could have gave an answer for the media. He could have said, George this and George that, this and that. We did this and we did that. But no. I'm not going to sit here and, hey, I don't really know him like that yet. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to know him. Man, that's honesty right there. Don't do it for the cameras. Don't do it for the show. You just say it like it is. That's where I'm trying to get to. Boy, this dude, man, I'm telling you about this dude. Very, very honest dude. And I'm telling you, this is the stuff that make people want to do things for you. This is that stuff right here. I'm telling you, I love it. Yeah, Tony Perry from NC, what's going on? North Carolina, he said, believe Shotty's the real deal. Oh, man, yeah. This dude's the real deal, man. I love it. He's the real deal. Gary Bookwalter, he said, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, he the real deal, man.
Watch the talking that goes on. The guys that can finish, that have maybe a 9-8 lead with two more.
All right, so let me go back a little bit. It looks like I had a little bit of an interruption there. If anybody for you people that's still on, let's go back just a little bit here. Sorry about that. It ain't on my end. This is something to do with AT&T.
Who I am, and Dak knows me maybe closer than more guys because I've spent more time with him just in terms of being in meetings and stuff. But there's really not anything that I wouldn't share, that I share with Dak, that I wouldn't share with anybody else. So I think, my relationship and, as a head coach is just as important with Osa and with Jaden Blue and Javonte Williams and Tyler Booker and insert name as it is with Dak.
Coach, Sydney Staples, D210 Sports, as you have gotten to know a player like George Pickens, what is something that you've learned that has maybe surprised you about him?
Yeah, I like that, Jamal
That's
Burton.
Good question. I'm just beginning to get to know him. I feel like when you learn someone's story about just,
yeah, okay,
their
we got
life
this.
and
I know
their
we got
journey
this before we start.
and how they got here, I think there's always been you up a little bit, but we try to get 4, 5, 6 guys together and just go talk about life. Football rarely comes up. These guys, we do plenty of football. We do football all day long. What I want to know is why Javonte named his dog what he named his dog, and why, what did this story come from, and all those things. I don't remember what Javonte named his dog. That's terrible. Those are the things that I love talking about. And then for them to share their stories with their teammates allows them, when they're out there on the field and they're having a tough day and it's hot and they're pushing through a padded practice at Oxnard, they're able to truly pull together and work together. And I think that's going to help us finish games, finish practices. When you have a tough moment, you have a tough stretch in the season, you work through those problems because they believe in one another, and more importantly, they love one another.
Yeah, that's called team building and accountability. That's exactly what the 90s Cowboys had. That's exactly what Jimmy Johnson built, and that's exactly what Darren Woodson said about the Cowboys, and this is exactly what Michael Irvin said about the Cowboys. They held each other accountable. They pushed each other. When you build that kind of culture, those are the types of ways. That's how you break through. You break through by having the team. As someone said earlier, 1 unit rather than 53. The team. This is what he's doing better than what's been done in the past. Everybody in the doggone past, it's like it's always been about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott. Okay, that's cool too. Can we hold some other guys accountable too? Can we hold some other guys accountable on this team too? Can we get some other guys to make some plays too? So that we don't go to another playoff game saying we're only going as far as Dak take us. No, I don't want to hear that stuff no more. No, we're only going as far as we go. We're only going as far as we go together. That's as far as we get. One for all for one. We only go as far as we get. This is why we got people in this, they call themselves in the fan base. But they're always talking about Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott isn't the problem. Dak Prescott's only been here, 10 years now? This is going on long before Dak Prescott.
You got 1 minute. Clarence.
Well, I'll talk fast.
Talk about culture and everything. One thing we noticed in the middle locker room was the ping pong table. Can you talk about the thought process behind the ping pong table? It's different than the past.
Yeah, we just moved it in there because I want this place to feel, I want our players to want to be here.
Yeah.
I want our players to come in the locker room and for us to have to kick them out. And they have their time frames that they can be here and whatnot. But I love playing ping pong. They love playing ping pong. It's fun to watch these guys compete. It's fun to watch the interaction with the offense and defense, and watch the talking that goes on. The guys that can finish, that have maybe a 9-8 lead with 2 more points needed. It's fun to watch those guys step into that arena. And and compete at things.
Tony
that
P said he's an
maybe
older
the world
Sean
doesn't know
Marvel.
they're
Okay,
good
I
at.
see.
And that's one of the cool things that Micah does. He thinks he's the best ping pong player in the building, and there's a handful of guys that would disagree with that.
Where was it before?
It was in the Players Lounge. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that man Shotty, boy. I tell you what, I'd love to play for him, man. Boy, I'd love to play football for him, man. Man, I'd love to play football for him. Gary Bookwalter said facts. They need to stop talking. Not a true Cowboy fan. It's a lot of them like that. It's a lot of them like that. They're just like the media. They're leeching off the Cowboys. They're leeching off the Cowboys by talking bad about Dak Prescott. I mean, it's just sickening when you see people do this type of stuff. Catherine the Kid said, heck yeah, Shotty sounds all pro. His father taught him well. I never heard McCarthy talk anything like this at all. And boy, let me tell you something, boy. Marty Schottenheimer, man, this dude would have some of the most heartbreaking losses. And I'm telling you, his locker room speeches, whoo, man. Marty be in tears. Marty would have the players in tears. Brian learned a lot from his father, and I think one of the things he learned from his father was, okay, you saying Sean McVay. Gotcha, Sean McVay. TP says Sean McVay. Yeah, and I think he learned a lot from his father about dealing with people. Yeah, I'm telling you, he's great. He's absolutely great. All right. Here we go. So, over on 105.3 The Fan, they were talking about the day one OTAs. And, you know, the OTAs to me have been strange. We've been hearing some things, but I think because you're not allowed to bring, film video, people can take pictures, but they can't really do video. But you really haven't seen the coverage. I expected a lot more coverage, but I guess the teams are basically saying we don't want you to do that kind of coverage. So maybe that's why we are not seeing that type of coverage. But over here on 105.3 The Fan, one of them actually talked about the Cowboys OTAs. Let's see. I think it's John Machota. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's John Machota. Let's roll it over here. Let's see.
I drive a Sewell.
Maybe tomorrow we'll hear some more stuff about day two. All right, let's roll it. John Machota.
I think we got John Machota on the line. John, are you with us?
I'm with you.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, all
Doing
right.
well.
Tell us what happened today. I know that's the broad question, but what was John Machota's eyes focusing on today as you were watching some guys run around in on the practice field?
This was day one.
So I did want to get out there early because I knew that there was a chance that would be the first time to actually stand near George Pickens, see what the size of him is compared to these other receivers. And there's no question about that. I mean, it stands out big time. I mean, he is definitely bigger than the other receivers on the team. And so I was also looking to see how much would they have him working in with the ones? How would he was with the ones the whole time. There was I didn't even see him run with anybody else. But the biggest surprise to me really was that Dak Prescott did everything that I thought for sure he would be limited to some aspect. I'm sure that on their call sheet, there probably are a few things that maybe he, was out like an extra play or whatever like that, but there's nothing about anything he did today that would make you think he was coming off that hamstring injury that obviously ended his season. So that was probably the biggest one. And then the fact that, Micah wasn't out there. Schottenheimer had said earlier in the day that he might not be, that he was in the building yesterday, but because these are voluntary, that he might not be at all of the stuff. So those are probably the most notable things. And I will say, when watching the offense, when they were doing some team drill stuff, and even talking to Jalen Tolbert about this in the locker room after, Tolbert was with the ones with that first group, with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and when they first broke and did team drills in front of us, those were the three receivers with the offensive line that you already know. But then the running back was Javonte Williams. But the thing that was interesting is that when they went to four receivers and then Turpin was in there, you can just see how that causes a lot of problems for whoever the defense is. And Turpin caught a short slant and turned it into it was a touchdown in this type of environment. I don't know if it would have scored in an actual game, but there, you can just see that when they can get all four of those out there together, that's going to be a tough time for whoever's the defensive backfield they're facing.
Hey, Matches, though, with Dak, just the eyes on him, I was hearing whispers that, the mobility, they were kind of moving him around a little bit. Everything looked to appear to be okay with him kind of doing that.
Yeah, it looked very similar to any of the practices, Brian, that you've seen out in Oxnard,
Sure.
where you know how it is when some of the passing plays, the defense is doing a good job. So Dak goes and extends the play by rolling out on some plays that you're like, yeah, if that happened in a game, that'd probably be a sack. But they keep it going because it extends the play and allows them to work on some of that stuff and look the same as he's done in the past, which I'm not saying that I thought he'd be really limited. I just thought that he would get less work than what we saw. Like maybe not do the team drills, do the individual stuff, and then once they got in the team, that's where you'd see more of Joe Milton. And I mean, we saw a lot of Milton, and he probably got more reps because the twos got more reps. But when the ones were out there, Dak Prescott was the quarterback.
What's your early assessment of Shoddy and maybe some of the differences that you've maybe noticed already?
Hey, man. Dak Prescott has already said this in the past. He said it when Trey Lance was here. He wants all the 1 reps. Dak will support these guys. Dak will mentor these guys. But Dak also knows this is the NFL. You want them to see more of you than anybody else. And Dak Prescott's position is secure. But at the end of the day, man, this is still football. It is still a competition. And you still want to make sure that you look good in the eyes of your teammates. You still want to make sure you're making those throws. And I don't know if John Machota is going to talk about it, but I've seen some things where, a lot of people, they want to see Jonathan Mingo. And I'm telling us, people need to just temper their expectations on Joe Milton. Temper your for the haters of Dak Prescott talking about, and even, remember Michael Irvin saying, don't let this guy on the field. Shady McCoy saying, don't let this guy on the field. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes on Joe Milton III. If you'll notice, Brian Schottenheimer, when we looked at the press conference on Monday, I think it was, you'll notice that Schottenheimer was very careful. He said he made some good throws. He's a great developmental piece. Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's a developmental piece. He's not the quarterback you want to insert on a championship team that's saying, okay, we're running for the Super Bowl this year. That's not Joe Milton right now. That's not Joe Milton right now. And so, again, Shotty's already said that Joe Milton makes Dak Prescott better. And I know exactly what he's talking about. Because you don't think Dak Prescott's heard to talk about Joe Milton? Dak's been around long enough. He knows how he got his job. He's seen this happen over and over. Dak is saying this isn't happening to me. Dak isn't Tony Romo. Dak eats right. Dak works out. Dak is very careful about, he tries to, especially after that bad ankle injury, Dak really tries to keep himself together. So I'm not surprised that Dak Prescott is taking all the reps. I'm not surprised. Yeah, Dak, take all the reps. That's what you're supposed to do. Do what you're supposed to do. Do it. Take all the reps. You need to be building the chemistry with George Pickens. He doesn't need to be building the chemistry with Will Grier and Joe Milton III. I love what Dak is doing. If his doctor has cleared him to do what he needs to do, then doggone it, get out there and do it. Do it. Yeah, Gary Bookwalter, we got 2 number ones. Yes, sir. Lisa says, I usually don't blame one person, but last year it was Mike. Whoa. Hey, the ghost of Mike McCarthy says, I am with you, Lisa. He was a big part of it. The ghost of Mike McCarthy, he says the only thing Romo improved away from the field was his golf game. Man, Tony was talented. And Tony's talent was probably his problem. Tony was so naturally talented as an athlete. Tony didn't feel like he needed to put that time in. I'm telling you, Tony did not put time in the offseason on football. Man, when that clock said it was the end of the season, Tony was out there trying to make the PGA Tour. He's a good golf player, really was. But again, you know, when you think about golf, it takes a lot out of your back, knees even. Could have been some of the fragility problems with Tony Romo. But again, man, Dak Prescott said he ain't going out like Willie Lump Lump. He said he's not doing it. Dak said, man, I'm thankful to be on the field, and I am going to take advantage of what the Joneses are finally doing. Man, I applaud him. Hey, bro, take all the snaps. I don't care if they call you at midnight. You get up there, get up to that facility, and you take those snaps too.
Ready? You got the shout out with the great question. That's always a good feeling. But you saw Jay Jeezy and McCarthy.
All right,
just the
Catherine,
early
kids, have a
returns
good
on
night.
Brian Schottenheimer.
There's a little bit I see of him in both those.
Good feeling. But you saw Jay Jeezy and McCarthy, just the early returns on Brian Schottenheimer.
There's a little bit I see of him in both those previous coaches, and then there's a little bit of his own thing too. I mean, there's some parts of Jason Garrett that I can definitely see with, you know, right kind of guy, building culture type things like that. But then there's a little bit too of Mike McCarthy that I see in him as well. But I don't think that there's anything that Schottenheimer's done since the day he's been hired that you would say, yeah, I didn't really think that was a good idea or that was a bad move. I think he's checked off every box. The thing I just keep saying is that none of this will matter, though, if on Sundays it doesn't look good. You know, if you can have an awful culture or you can have guys that don't get along, but if on Sundays when the games start, they ball, that's what everybody will take. This is a big money business. This isn't, you know, your local high school team or, you know, or even, I wouldn't even go that far. I'd say your local little league team where you're happy, everybody's happy and everybody's playing and everything like that. Like, no, this is secondary. Winning must happen. The offense must be successful. And so everything he's done up to this point, like that we've seen, I mean, I can't say that I have any question marks about Brian Schottenheimer. So it really is just what we see on Sundays, because I think what you'll see in training camp will be impressive. I mean, he's all over the place, you know, going from one drill to another, which reminds me of how Jason Garrett was. And I didn't know that if he would be like that, because he's obviously calling the offense too. So we'll see how that goes during the season. But you can tell he's trying to bring the energy during practice, so the blaring music and things like that. And guys are very upbeat. And so you can tell that there's a jolt of energy in the building. There's no question. But like I said, it all depends on what happens on Sundays.
Which players had the most?
Hold on a second. Let me read this super chat, and then I'm gonna comment on something John Machota is saying. Calvin Richard, appreciate that super chat. Calvin Richard said, we have the wide receivers. Without a run game, it would just be a repeat of past seasons. This is why I do think Javonte Williams is going to be good. But Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa are really going to be the key to success. Those two young guys, the 1-2 punch they bring, if they can get these two young guys to really be productive, that's what's going to take them down the stretch. That is going to take them down the stretch, and it's going to pay dividends. I'm not necessarily sure they should do the running back by committee. Jaden Blue is going to be all over the place. I think Jaden Blue will be in the pass game. I think he'll be in the run game. Phil Maffa is going to be more of he's the pure running back. And Phil Maffa, I can see him being a short yardage back. I can see him being a goal line back. Phil Maffa is the guy that we need to work into being the number one back. Jaden Blue, we don't have to worry about. Jaden Blue is going to get his touches. I want to see Phil Maffa work his way into the number one back spot. I'm not sure they need to do the running back by committee. And again, we'll see. Cowboys could shock everybody. They may add another running back. And for all the people who keep talking about Deuce Vaughn, no. I don't see Deuce Vaughn. I don't see where a guy of his stature. When I hear physical, violent running, I'm sorry, I don't think Deuce Vaughn. I don't think Deuce Vaughn. I think if you're really talking about that type of running back, Sanders will probably be cut, and the Cowboys will probably bring in somebody else. But again, Calvin Richards, you're right. They got to make sure that they got to get this run game because the run game will make these two wide receivers lethal. The same way Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper were together. You get a run game, this thing is lethal. Nobody will be able to deal with it. And as it applies to John Michaud and what he's saying. I'd like to know who those teams are that he's talking about. Who are the teams with bad culture that have won the championships? Who are those teams? Who are the teams with bad culture that have won championships? I mean, when you say stuff like that, that gets my spidey senses tingling. I know these guys like to hedge their bets. They like to hedge their bets in case something don't turn out. They don't want to oversell something. And then if it don't turn out right, then someone says, well, you said. Well, I don't work for the 3 and 4 letter networks. I don't work for 105.3 The Fan. If you build it from the inside out, it will win. Brian is building it from the inside out. He's building it with the culture, the mentality, the attitude. He's building it the right way. Because when you think about the Cowboys, the one thing the Cowboys have always had is talent to me. They've always been top heavy. They might not have had a lot of in between, but the Cowboys always got talent. I mean, the Cowboys have drafted well. In the past, the problem is they haven't done anything in free agency, and they didn't do anything in free agency. That was one of the big issues. And they didn't do anything in the trade game. But they've always had good players. But the problem is they didn't have the gel in between those good players. They didn't even have the mentalities right. It was just like every man for himself. And those teams only got so far. I got news for us. This is fact, not conjecture. This 2025 team, before the cuts, and let's just say the Cowboys went right now and said, we're slicing off all of the 4s and back and half of the 3s, which would probably give us close to the 53-man roster. They're better than the 2023 team. This roster is better than the 2023 team. All the way around. All the way around when you think about it. They are better. They're better at defensive end. They're a little bit better at defensive tackle. The cornerback room, yeah, we got some questions there. The safety room, I want to see a battle there. But I guarantee you this. I bet you Dan Quinn would have took that deep. Dan Quinn would take this defense right now with the 4s and back cut off and half of the 3s. Dan Quinn would be salivating over this defense. Dan Quinn would salivate. Dan Quinn, I promise you, would have this defense at top 3. Dan Quinn didn't have this kind of, Dan Quinn didn't have this kind of weaponry. He just didn't on defense. When you look offensively, this team versus 2023, George Pickens and C.D. Lamb, and you fill in the blank at the 3rd. And I'll even say Jalen Tolbert at the 3rd. Because as much as we say that Mingo may beat out Tolbert, I think Tolbert's going to have something to say about that. Tolbert, Cavonte Turpin, those 4 receivers, they're better than what we had in 2023. And I mean, it's way better. And when I think about 2023, when I think about the running backs that we had in 2023 versus the running backs that we have right now in Sanders, Maffa, and Jaden Blue, it's better than that. It's better than 2023. We just got to get it on the field and get the parts moving and working together. But when you look at this roster, man, it's better than the 2023 roster. It's better. Oh, and might I add, the coaching staff is eons better. Coaching staff is way better. Even Mike McCarthy and his Super Bowl, this is better. It's absolutely better. Hey, man, I know we don't want to say this team is going to the Super Bowl. But, hey, you got to admit what it is, too. It is better personnel-wise. it's better coach-wise, it's better culture-wise. Man, this thing has no choice but to win. And if it don't win, it's when it will win. The way they're building it, as I said before, Dak called it top down. I said it before Dak. I said the championships, they start at the top. That's where they started it. That's where they started it. I believe that this team is going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal as it gets going. As it gets going. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And again, I don't work for these guys, so I don't have to temper my expectations. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. What they're doing is going to work. It's going to work.
Impressive body transformation this offseason?
Oh, that's a good question.
Body transformation this off
building, there's no question. But like I said, it all depends on what happens on Sundays.
Which players had the most impressive body transformation this offseason?
What kind of doggone question is this, man? What kind of question is this, man? Man, why you asking this dude who had the best body transformation? What? Bro. Man, you gotta be a little bit more specific if you're talking to me about if you're talking to me about men's body transformations, man. Can you kind of ask me what you really looking for? Can you kind of say like, hey man, like is Dak in better shape or something? But man, how am I looking at dudes talking about, man, boy, you see his body versus last? Stop it. This is a crazy question to me. That's why John Machota said this is a good question. I wish he'd asked me this question. I told him, hey, man, I would have said this is a good question. I said, what kind of question is this? Boy, this is crazy to me. What kind of question is this, man? Who's had the best body transformation? I don't know. Maybe you need to go to OTAs.
So what happens on Sundays?
Which players had the most impressive body transformation this offseason?
Come on,
oh,
man.
That's a good question.
Come on.
I'll tell you, every time I've seen Osa Odigizua, he just looks like a guy that lives in the weight room. So he would be number one for me. But somebody that.
How about you ask me, hey, man, how does Osa Odigizua look versus last year? You know, he lost weight in his rookie year, gained it back, with Mike Zimmer. Now, how is he looking this year? Is his weight kind of back? I mean, come on, man. You got to be a little bit more specific for me.
I haven't seen before in person, but seeing him today, Solomon Thomas is pretty impressive. I've heard a lot of good things about him and stuff, but not seeing him in person, really, I didn't know, the size-wise what he'd be, and he certainly looks the part for sure.
Solomon Thomas, guys, I'm telling you. Solomon Thomas is going to be a player for this team. Solomon Thomas is going to be a player. He's going to get on the field, and he is going to be a player for this team. You watch what I tell you. Solomon Thomas is going to do his thing. He is absolutely going to do his thing. Calvin Richard, appreciate that super chat. Appreciate another super chat. Calvin Richard. He said the only team that I can remember that had culture of misfits was the Raiders of the 70s, okay? And early 80s that won the Super Bowl. Yeah. Okay. And again, you think about it. That's an anomaly. It doesn't happen often. Okay, but it happened. And that's why I say you got to specify, because if you're talking about something that far back, no, man, when you see teams that win championships and you go back and look at those doggone ownerships, man, you're not surprised. You're not surprised. I mean, you think about the Patriots. What did they do? They empowered Bill Belichick. And they also got lucky in getting Tom Brady in the 6th round, but they empowered Bill Belichick to make a lot of moves. He built his own culture. Unfortunately, he didn't realize that Tom Brady was a big part of that. And that's why he hasn't done anything since. I hope he does better where he is in North Carolina. But when you build good cultures, man, and don't get me wrong, it's not just the culture. When you're building that culture, you also you have to give that coach players. Well, the reason why I'm impressed with the culture, because the culture influenced the Joneses to finally get some players. That's why I'm impressed, and that's why I think it's going to be good to go. Let me read a couple of comments here. Lost in translation, he said, I have a feeling when we win more than 12 games because Shotty is not going to put the team in compromising positions, i.e. clock management in 4th down scenarios. Boy, yes. Yes. And you also realize what he said. He's building a team that can finish. A team that can finish. A team that can work together to finish games. Finish big games. Yeah, he's putting together something here. Samuel Johnson said, let's just have a 1-2 punch, thunder and lightning. Don't count out Deuce Vainglorious. He's a tough guy, too, especially with a good offensive lineup. We're going to see. We're going to see if he gets his opportunity. Christopher Cook, what up? He said, I believe we're going to be extremely poised and focused this year. Yes. I expect to see a totally different team from last season. Yes, I do, too. I do, too. Tolbert, Christopher Cook, I do believe Tolbert's going to make a step. I think we had Tolbert. I think we heap too much responsibility on Tolbert. That just isn't what he is. I don't think Tolbert's a number 2. I think Tolbert is a very solid number 3. Now, he'll be like a 2. He'll be like a 2 because we got 2 number 1s. We don't have 3 number 1s. We already know this. He'll be like a 2. Maybe he'll be more of a 2.5. He'll make a step and be a 2.5. And I'm very interested to see what does Mingo do. What does Mingo do? I really want to see I want to see what can Mingo push Tolbert also. Because, just like he was talking about these players who push players, well, Mingo better be pushing Tolbert. And Tolbert better step up to the plate.
And Overshown looks like an absolute monster. Now, he wasn't doing any of the team or individual. He was working off the side, doing the resistant cords and things like that. But he certainly looks like whenever that knee is ready to go, he's every bit ready to go out on the field and probably make a big impact. But those would probably be the main ones. I don't know. Maybe it was just where I was standing, but I kind of thought Joe Milton would look a lot bigger than Dak, and he really didn't look a lot bigger. Like, he's taller.
Wait. The ghost of Mike McCarthy. The ghost of Mike McCarthy said, he said, then don't look up 105.3 last season with their Texas Rangers clubhouse crew. He says about Wyatt Langford's physique. He said they had that on repeat all season long. man, boy, hey man, I'm sorry. That's a certain way, man. There's just a certain way to be. You just gotta say stuff, man. There's a certain way you gotta say stuff, man. A dude just asking like, yeah, man. I mean, who's physique? Who's physique transformed? I'm like, man, come on, man. Can you be a little bit more specific, man? What do you really want? I'm glad John Machota brought this up. Y'all listen to this. John Machota says something about Dak Prescott and Joe Milton III, and I've seen the photos of this. And the photos are very eye-opening. Listen to what he says here.
I don't know. Maybe it was just where I was standing, but I kind of thought Joe Milton would look a lot bigger than Dak, and he really didn't look a lot bigger. Like, he's taller, but I thought it was going to be kind of like a Cam Newton type thing, which because he's got more of that type of a build. But yeah, I mean, obviously bigger, but not that much bigger than Dak is. And Milton had a little up and down day. I mean, the arm strength's crazy. I mean, you can just tell that, the big play potential is there, but he threw a couple interceptions. The rookie linebacker, Shamar James, picked one off. And then the other linebacker, Buddy Johnson
got
picked
him
off. Yeah. So a little up and down or whatever, but he's still learning the offense and that. But he'll be one out in training camp that'll be interesting to watch because when he lets it loose, I mean, the arm strength there is crazy.
John Machota.
See. This is what I've said it, and I'm trying to tell people. We've seen these big quarterbacks before. We've seen these Jamarcus Russells, Dante Culpeppers, Trey Lance. We've seen these these supposed to be big quarterbacks, big arms. And then we got guys like Kyler Murray in the league, Bryce Young in the league. How they get picked over these supposedly big arm, big quarterbacks. John Machota is saying the same thing that continues to be his MO. He makes splashy plays. He can't tie them together. That's his scouting report. He was a 6-year college quarterback. This is not talking bad about him. It's facts. He was a 6-year quarterback, 1-year starter. He's got a big arm. He'll make some throws that people without that arm can't make. But guess what? Josh Allen does some of the same things. I'm not comparing him to Josh Allen. But what I'm saying is he's got a big arm. And these big arm quarterbacks, they always think they can throw a pass and put it in a place that no one else can get it, and then someone else gets it. Quarterback is not about being the biggest quarterback. If it was, none of these quarterbacks would be winning, because the majority of these quarterbacks that are winning Super Bowls, they're not big quarterbacks. Nobody talked about Joe Montana's arm strength. Nobody talked about Troy Aikman's arm strength and how far he could throw the ball. And? Nah, bro, what we worried about is, can you read defenses? Can you put the ball in places where it needs to be? That's all we need to know. That is all we need to know. That's why I was saying people pump the brakes on Joe Milton III. And again, Dak Prescott, contrary to what people may think, Dak Prescott's not a small dude. Dak's not a small dude. He's not. So now people are seeing, and I saw this photo online. I'll see if I can get it tomorrow. People saw Dak Prescott and they saw Joe Milton III side by side, and they're like, wait a minute. Maybe it's not the fact that Joe Milton is not as big as people thought he was. Maybe it's the fact that Dak is not small as people thought he was. No, Dak's a pretty big dude. And I remember in Dak's first 2 seasons, and you got to think about how Dak got injured. A lot of people don't realize the way Dak got injured. That was actually a drop hip tackle. See, nobody was calling, I guess no one was calling it that then. But when you look at the way that cornerback took Dak Prescott down, he grabbed him and he dropped his weight down to get him to, because Dak had almost kind of got away from him, but he dropped his weight down, drop hip tackle, and he twisted up Dak's foot. So there was a thing that people were saying about Dak Prescott, if y'all don't remember. A lot of these defensive backs, when they would ask him about Dak Prescott, and you know what they would say? This dude is much bigger in person. They were like, when you see him on TV, you think he's like this real slim guy. But when you see him in person, this dude is a pretty big guy. Some of the linebackers were saying the same thing. Hey, man, this dude Dak Prescott isn't as small as you think he is. And so when Dak was running at these defensive backs, Dak was almost a terror to some of these smaller defensive backs because they really couldn't bring him down, tackling him in a conventional way. He was bigger. So what did he do? He dropped him, and he dropped down, and that's how Dak's leg got twisted up. So a lot of people don't realize, man, Dak has never really been a small guy. Dak's never been a small guy. So it's no surprise to me that when I saw Dak Prescott and Joe Milton III side by side, I wasn't really surprised. Dak's not really a small dude to begin with. I think what happens is that when people started talking about Joe Milton III, people had this picture in their mind of, man, this dude's going to be a giant and this and this and this. And then you kind of see him and you're like, oh, okay, he's a little bit taller than Dak, but okay, he ain't that much. I mean, he ain't bigger than Dak or anything like that. So it's all good in the hood. It's all good. And we're going to see what Dak is going to be able to do as far as the mobility is there. It's obvious the mobility is there. And, there's they have him on they're saying no contact. Duh. They didn't even have to enforce that rule. There's already no contact on the quarterback. There's already no contact on the quarterback in OTAs. There's already no contact. Christopher Cook, appreciate that super chat. Christopher Cook, I've been watching a while now. Much respect, G. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the super chat. Christopher Cook, yeah, Dak is due for a big season. Our offensive line is going to dictate a lot of our success. Hey, I said it already, Christopher Cook. Trenches win championships. Man, if you can control both lines of scrimmage, you can control games. When you can control both lines of scrimmage, you can give your quarterback time. You can open up holes for your running back. You can hold up time to let the play action develop and to get your wide receivers down the field. I mean, your lines of scrimmage, they do so many things for you. They do. So many things. Oh, yeah, you will, B Fatty. You watch what I tell you. You're going to win one with Dak. You are going to win one. Yeah, but again, B Fatty, I know, I don't know how old you are, but if you watch this league long enough, bro, man, athletic quarterback don't mean nothing. Michael Irvin said it the other day. Tom Brady is the most non-athletic quarterback you're ever going to see. He's not an athletic quarterback. It doesn't take an athletic quarterback to win Super Bowls. A lot of people don't realize Patrick Mahomes isn't a great athlete. He's a great quarterback, but he's not a great athlete. Man, nobody care about no quarterback doing backflips. Man, you got to realize something. If Joe Milton was anything that anybody thought, for the people who over-exaggerate Joe Milton III, 6-year quarterback in college. Stop it. 6-year quarterback in college. 1-year starter. His college career wasn't even better than Dak's college career. He did nowhere near what Dak did in college. And even in New England, I don't care what anybody is saying. You got to, man, this league loves to win. This league loves to win. If Joe Milton was better than their starter, with that arm and that size, do you really think they're letting this dude go for a box of Cracker Jacks? Come on, man. We gotta stop lying to ourselves, man. We gotta stop lying to ourselves. That's crazy. That kind of talk is crazy talk. It's crazy talk. And again, see, John Machota, that's why I'm saying, even John Machota is listening to the talk. He's listening to the talk about Joe Milton. But then when he sees Joe Milton, he's like, okay, all right. It's not that much bigger than Dak. And he's living up to his scouting report. His scouting report says he makes splashy plays. Go read the scouting report. It says it right there. He can't string them together. Doesn't have touch on the ball. Man, nobody cares if you can throw the ball a mile because you don't have to throw the ball a mile in the pros. You're lucky if you're throwing the ball down the field at least. You're lucky if you're throwing beyond 25 yards, 3 to 4 times a game? At the most? And if it's more than that, could it be 5 or 6? You're not throwing the ball 50 yards down the field 5 or 6 times a game. Nobody cares about a quarterback being athletic. And I don't care nothing about no quarterback turning doggone flips. Man, I don't even care about that. It's crazy talk. Miss Matrix. Joe Burrow, he's not an athletic quarterback, but he did shock me against the Cowboys, Miss Matrix. Because the way this dude was getting away from the Cowboys, I was like, I didn't even know Joe could move like that. He is not an athletic quarterback. Matthew Stafford, not an athletic quarterback. There are so many of these quarterbacks that are not athletic. And again, he mentioned somebody. And let me tell you something. Man, Joe Milton III is no Cam Newton. Cam Newton is built from this dude was built in an alien factory somewhere. Cam Newton wear all them crazy looking clothes And you wouldn't even know Cam Newton is in shape. Man, Cam Newton's in great shape, man. He still looked like he could play the game. But he can't play the game. Not at a high level. He can't play. He can't play the game. JB Cowboy said Dak looks great. No, did he? Boy, I see you there, man. I see you, boy. Boy, goes to Mike McCarthy. Boy, you almost, thank you for bringing it to my recollection. Neither one of the Manning brothers were athletic. Neither one of them dudes were athletic winning Super Bowls. The goes to Mike McCarthy. He said Peyton had his neck sliced open, a bum arm, but still pulled off his second. Boy, you're exactly right. Pulled off his second Super Bowl. Be accurate and timely with those 15 to 20-yard throws. Yes, sir. Straight up, man. Nobody care about. They don't care about no quarterback turning back flips.
Go to here with you from The Athletic. Shoddy talking about Micah's absence. I was trying to figure out if he's bothered by it or he just loves the fact that Micah's been to what he's been to.
Yeah, no, I mean, just my interactions with Brian Schottenheimer, coupled with that, what he said today, I don't get any sense that he's upset with Micah with any of this stuff. And I think he's happy that whatever Micah is going to show up for, he'll take it, because I think he's very aware that, as we all know, that in these contract situations like this for a player that could become, the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, they very well could he could go down to Austin this entire month and never even step foot in the facility, and nobody would say anything. CD Lamb missed a huge chunk of last offseason, because of his contract. And so I think that he's happy to get anything, as long as that, and it seems like Micah is in good spirits and his issues, if there are any, it's with the front office. It's not with Schottenheimer or anything like that. It's about getting the contract done. And the way Schottenheimer's handled that is very similar to the way Mike McCarthy was with that stuff. I mean, him saying today about how he's like, I got an agent too. That's all part of this thing. We understand that that there's going to be guys that miss time because of this stuff, because of the business side of it. So I have not gotten the sense at all that there's been any frustration from Brian Schottenheimer.
Now, let me add, Brian Schottenheimer, based on everything I've been hearing, he's just going to control the parts he can control. Your life is so much easier when you live it like that. You only control what you can control. Everything else, it is what it is. There's no point in stressing out over it. Brian Schottenheimer has been with this team. He's been through the CD. He's been through the DAC. He understands how this team operates. Brian Schottenheimer knows full well that Michael's going to get the contract. And again, that's why he calls up Micah on the phone. Hey, man, this is important. Can you be here for this and this and this? Because we don't want you to get behind, basically. So whatever he can get in there, whenever he can get him in, he gets him in. And he knows full well the contract is coming. And I wish Jerry and these guys, man, why, Jerry? Why, Jerry? You're going to pay the man. Whatever it is, you're going to pay the man. So why not do it? It doesn't make sense. Calvin Richards said, I think the threat of a deep throw still keeps the defense on alert. And again, appreciate that super chat. Oh, Dak can do the deep throw. But who cares about an 85-yard throw? I mean, it's a halftime or end of the game. Okay, that's great. Bring in Joe Milton. Let him throw a Hail Mary. But again, just because a guy can throw the ball a mile don't mean he can throw it 40 or 50 yards down the field accurately. And so, again, Shotty knows what's up with this dude. He's a developmental piece. Yeah, he's a developmental piece.
With all the rehab corners that they've got right now, and then Lewis leaving, what stood out with the rotations and what they were doing at DB?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say Kyer Elam, definitely the speed's there. Kalen Carson being back out there, but I'm a little cautious about that group. I want to see that group out in Oxnard and see what it looks like there, because I think there's still question marks at the position. And you wouldn't sit there. That doesn't do anybody any favors for Brian Schottenheimer today to say, yeah, we're not done at corner. Something needs to be added there. Let the guys go and compete and find out and see what you have once you get out to California. But it would not surprise me at all if there's another move to be made there. And the reason I say that, too, is just because even if you do think that Savon Ravel will be ready for week 1, it is still coming off of a major knee injury. And then whenever Diggs is ready, mid-season, whatever it is, let's say a month into the season, whatever.
Yeah.
That still is a major knee injury that when these guys get back, you don't know that they're going to hit the ground running perfectly.
Yeah.
And so because of that, and because of how many good corners you need in today's NFL, that's the position to me. I know people mention running back and defensive tackle, and I'll listen to that for sure, but corner's number one for me. That I don't think that they're completely done at corner.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah. And again, I like what he's saying there. And again, you think about Kyrie Elam. Kyrie Elam, though, is showing what you want him to show in these OTAs. He said the speed is there. You'll also notice who else mentioned Kyrie Elam. Brian Schottenheimer. So this tells me that he's turning a few heads. He's got the step. This guy's he got the step. He's got the speed. We're seeing it. We're seeing what he's doing. So Kyrie Elam is going to be a major part if he can get this thing going. But again, I like what he's saying. There's no point in coming out in the press right now talking about, we need to show up the cornerback position, even the defensive tackle position. Don't come out and start saying that stuff in public. Let's kind of see what happens post-June 1st. If there is a piece out there that's good enough to add or better than what we have, then we don't really need an excuse other than this is a great piece. Let's bring it in. But for now, let's roll and see what these cornerbacks are. I already like what I'm hearing about Kyrie Elam. I like what I'm hearing. Gary Bookwalter said that will be the only way we need him for sure. Yeah. I'm talking about those Hail Marys. Jeffrey Salter said Jerry Jones has found his new Jimmy Johnson in Shoddy, building relationship with players. I agree. I absolutely agree. Tony Perry said, gee, it's really Jerry, or is it the agent of really Jerry, or is it the agent of Michael Parsons? I think it's the agent of Michael Parsons. That's what I think, TP. I think it's the agent. I think Jerry has already offered him some great deals. There must be something in there, though, that the agent is wanting for Michael Parsons. And I know it better not be a fully $200 million guarantee, a fully guaranteed $200 million deal, because if that's the case, nah, bro. Nah, you can't be, you can't be, not for a guy that don't touch the ball. Nah, you can't do that. Not for a guy that don't touch the ball. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what it is. I'm hoping that this contract gets signed any day now. It'll just be another victory in this offseason. Let's not take this into Oxnard, California, because if this gets to Oxnard, California, this ain't going to be about no voluntary stuff. If this gets to Oxnard, California, you're not going to see Michael Parsons. Yeah, you won't see Michael Parsons if it gets that far. So I'm hoping they go ahead and get this stuff worked out in the OTA period. Gary Bookwalter, yeah, I think they're going to go. I think they're going to get Gilmore. You're not going to get you're not worried about getting Gilmore just at this point. When you start talking about OTA stuff, Gilmore, man, this dude's a veteran. He don't need no OTA stuff. But when you get to Oxnard and you start talking about the June, July month, hey, you need to go get him then. It'll be time to go get Stephon Gilmore. If you're going to get Stephon Gilmore, he needs to be in camp. He needs to be in camp for sure.
John, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, John, last couple minutes here about Booker and stuff like that. The previous regime was like, oh, guys have to earn it. Booker, right guard, running with the ones, that kind of thing. Did you notice anything about that?
Yeah, just to be completely honest with you, I didn't. And the reason why is because we can't do video at these things. And so a lot of time when the ones were running, I had my phone out ready to take a still picture of anything thrown to George Pickens. So
I got you.
I mean, that's the only reason I'd say that I probably didn't watch the line of scrimmage as closely as I normally would. And then the other part of it is just because I generally, and Schottenheimer mentioned a little bit today talking about the run game, like this setting, like I just don't put a lot of stock in just because the pads aren't on.
Right.
So that's the only reason that I would say that would be my. If I had to grade myself on watching today's practice, my weakness was certainly the line of scrimmage.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I just was curious of making sure where they line up. I know you're not going to get the benefit of the combo blocks and the pulling and all that stuff like that, but I just was curious because last year, the last few years, Mike McCarthy is like, oh, we're going to make these guys get over on field 2 and work, the 3s versus the 4s. When this guy was a 12th overall pick,
You better damn be running with the 1s.
yeah. That's what I was just curious about, John. But your other stuff is absolutely great. Really do appreciate it.
Made no
that.
sense either.
You're the man,
yeah,
John.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Why would you have a guy like Tyler Booker? Why in the world would you have Tyler Booker running with the 3 and the 4? Stop it. You got this guy to be a starter. You got him to be a starter. Now you get out to Oxnard. Let's see what Brock Hoffman. Let's see who he challenges. But no, man, you got this guy just like George Pickens. Man, come on. You already know what it is. Man, line this guy up at the number. Line him up at the number 2, even though he's the number 1. Come on. You don't even need to be talking about earning it. Come on, man. Stop it. I don't even know why anyone do that.
Yeah, I wish I would have paid attention more to that, and I will from probably other practices, but just because this was going to be the first one with George Pickens, I would say 95% of my focus was on him.
Gotcha.
There's no way of gauging who running back 1 is going to be at this time, but if you had to bet, what are Jaden Blue's chances of winning?
Yeah, you make a very good comment, Tony Perry. Hey, man, if they're in win now mode, I say you go get that 1 tech because you don't want to be taking chances on him. And again, we'll see what happens post June 1st. I do think the Cowboys are going to make I think they'll make a few more moves post June 1st. And again, I think Stephon Gilmore's coming in here. I think Stephon Gilmore's coming in here. I really do. I think Stephon Gilmore because, you really want to lock this cornerback position thing down. If you want to lock it down, go get Stephon Gilmore. You go get Stephon Gilmore. You have the run blend. And then these other guys, now you can start kind of working them in and see what you have in the slot. I would also love them to bring in Asante Samuel. He don't work out, cut him. But bring him in. Let's see what he can do. I'd love to bring in Asante Samuel. You can probably get him on the cheap too. Bring him in.
This thing.
If I'm betting my own hard-earned money, I would say week 1 it'll be Javonte Williams. By the end of the season, it'll be Jaden Blue, and I think Jaden Blue will be this team's leading rusher. I'm not saying that'll be 1,000 yards, but I think eventually he'll take it over. But I think Javonte Williams, a guy that I believe, if I heard him correctly, this will be 2 years removed on his knee injury. Today he was talking about it in the locker room after. So I think there's a good chance that he's the vet, that they'll lean towards him to start. But I think eventually that Blue is the one that will take over and be the primary ball carrier. There'll still be a mixture. I don't think there'll be any lead dog type thing, but I think at the end of the year he'll have the most rushing yards.
Well, thanks for your insights, sir. Heck of a job, and we look forward to catching up with you soon.
Absolutely, boys. Thanks for having me on.
I'm hoping Phil Maffa works his way in. I really do. I'm hoping they get Phil Maffa worked in. So we'll find out tomorrow. I'm pretty sure they'll do some more stuff. I know we'll cover, I shouldn't say tomorrow. We'll cover some of the day 2 stuff later on today when we do our live stream around 4:30. But, yeah, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident. I'm hoping Phil Maffa works his way in. I really do. Phil Maffa works his way in. Man, this dude's a power back. He really is. He is an absolute terror when you see his film. He's a power back. Tony Perry, the NFL telling it, TP, I've been saying this, man. So I saw where the ghost of Mike McCarthy is saying that the Cowboys are going to be, and I don't think they're going to be the main feature on Hard Knocks, if I'm not mistaken, but they're going to be a part of the Hard Knocks. But they also, if I'm not mistaken, there's a Netflix special coming out on the Cowboys this year. It's the 30th anniversary of the last time of the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl. They gave the Cowboys 6 primetime games. I don't think this is just about money. The NFL is telling us something. I could be totally wrong on this. I got to see what's going on because I don't see how you give a 7-10 team 6 primetime games, 4 Thursday night games. Toughest schedule, one of the toughest schedule in the league. I mean, in this league. I mean, there are so many things about this schedule that you're just looking at them and going, this don't make sense. I'm telling us, man, I think this league is like, hey, man, I think this league is telling us something. We'll see how it all turns out. It goes to Mike McCarthy. You don't need a 1,000-yard rush if you got 2 running backs that can get you 600 to 800 yards, with a third running back like Moffitt that can get you another 200 yards too. I don't think so either. And I'm going to show you something, though. Boy, we got to be careful with this. Since we've already kind of talked about this thing with Dak Prescott, and we'll look at that in just a moment. We'll look at it for a couple of minutes. There's a very interesting thing that Micah Parsons said. Boy, and this is dangerous. This is very dangerous. Let me see here. There are some people that have already talked about it. Let me see. I saw them talking about it on X. Okay, here it is right here. Okay, let me see if I can find the clip. Matter of fact, this is an entire clip on YouTube that they're talking about. It's Dan Orlovsky. And Dan Orlovsky, Paul, I don't agree with Dan much, but Dan has been speaking some truth on the Cowboys lately. Michael Parsons kind of claps back at, let me see here. Some people are calling it hate. I don't really call this hate what he's doing. Let me see here if I can, let me see if I can find the clip. But man, if I can't find it, I'll just tell you what it is. But Dan Orlovsky kind of got people a little bit in their feelings, because Dan Orlovsky was saying that his concern with the Dallas Cowboys is their front seven. I don't see what's wrong with this. But there are people who have a problem with this. You know, they're saying, you know, he's hating on the Dallas Cowboys and blah, blah, blah. Let me see. And so he's getting some hate on this. But the reality is, I think he may have a point in a sense, because he's saying that the Cowboys need to kind of shore up their front seven so that they can stop the run. I think that's what the whole hoopla is about. And so there are Micah Parsons comes back. Let me see. I got the article on Micah Parsons. Let me show you the article. So it says, while Michael Parsons is currently focused on his latest contract news, in which he most recently denied a report that suggested a handshake deal was already made between him and the Dallas Cowboys, the All-Pro evidently remains active on the internet during the offseason. Responding to ESPN's Dan Orlovsky, best known his 7-year stint as a backup quarter. Whoa, man. I'm sorry for laughing, boy. Boy, hey man, let me tell you, boy. People are just cruel, man. Boy, they want to make sure. If you want to discredit somebody, boy, you make sure you throw in what they were. You throw in what they were, what they were in football, so everybody can know that they were trash. I guess they said, responding to Dan Orlovsky, best known his 7-year stint as a backup quarterback for the Detroit Lions. Boy, they want you to know, hey, man, they like he was no starter. They said former Penn State star was not thrilled at how the team's defense was portrayed in the media. Let me see. All right, here it is. So thankfully they put it in the article. All right, so let's listen to Dan Orlovsky. Y'all tell me if Dan Orlovsky is hating.
The Dallas front seven weighs, okay? We go 260, 280, 245, 220, 240, 320.
Small.
There's one person over like 280. When I'm playing Philly.
I'm thinking of Jeff Stoutland's offensive line right now.
Yeah, when I'm thinking Matt LaFleur running the football, I'm thinking what Chicago has done with their offense. So I know that we talk about Dallas and offense and George. I'm going to be very interested to see the annual question about this Cowboys defense. Are you big enough to handle the modern day offense in the NFL? Because it's back to being what it was in the early 2000s. The Dallas front seven weighs, okay?
So he's saying something. Will they be able to stop the run? That's what he's asking. And I think it's a fair question. And the reason why I think it's a fair question is because what have we been talking about? Tony Perry responds down here. Need a veteran defensive tackle. Why do we think Dan Orlovsky is saying what he's saying? Dan Orlovsky is asking, will we be able to stop the run? That's what he's asking. Will they be able to stop the run? Because if the Cowboys can't stop the run, we're going to be in trouble. And I want you to see Michael Parsons' response. I don't like the Michael Parsons response on this. This is old school, vintage, everything Dak Prescott. This is that same rhetoric. Watch this. So Michael Parsons responds. Not gonna lie, MF. Not thinking about that run when you have a healthy Dak Prescott, CD and George Pickens. My rookie year with Coop, we averaged 30 points a game with a fluid run game. We'll be all right. And I guess Michael Parsons is saying in a sense that he believes that because Dak Prescott is healthy with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, they're going to be able to throw the ball. And, I mean, I don't know. Okay, he's talking about with Amari Cooper. Yeah, with Amari Cooper, we average 30 points a game. So he's saying that the Cowboys will be back to scoring a lot of points because they now have George Pickens. And he said they had a fluid run game. So he's talking about, I guess that would have been Zeke. And, boy, I'm mad that Zeke and Tony Pollard. So at this point, we don't really know what this run game is. Because we're definitely not going to put Javonte Williams on the level of what Zeke was, man, during his heyday. But I do think that Jaden Blue has the potential to be better than Tony Pollard. So he's saying that we'll be all right. But the thing that I don't like is we didn't progress. We're going to need a little bit more. I mean, if we're talking championship, I mean, honestly, we're probably going to need just a little bit more. And we need to solidify those trenches. We need to make sure that we can control those lines of scrimmage. We have to be able to do that. Because if we're not going to be able to do that, then it's going to be Dan Orlovsky. Hey, you know what? I don't agree with Dan on a lot of things. I don't agree with Dan Orlovsky, man. Dan be tripping. Man, Dan is saying something right here. Dan is saying something right here. As a matter of fact, let me see here on that article. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me go over here. Let me pull it back up. Let me see. When you look at the comments under this, look at this. Landon Holyfield writes for CowboysCountry.com. He said, we speak the same language on this one, Dano. Mm-hmm. I think some of us have been saying this. Some of us have been saying some of this type of work. And I don't think it's so much about the weight as much as it is about, bro, you really, we've been hearing some of our content creators talking about this. Dallas Fan 612 says, probably the only time Cowboys fan and Dan Orlovsky will ever agree on something. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't think it's the weight. You know, a lot of people are harping on the weight. I'm not worried about the weight. I'm worried about the ability to stop the run. I don't care about the weight. Can the Cowboys stop the run? Yeah, I'm not worried about the size thing. No, I think that's the wrong. I think that's probably where he's getting criticized the most. But I think the question is, can they stop the run? Look at this. Dan says, he's spot on. The run D was the issue versus Green Bay and was the same last year. Yeah, somebody said they're talking about the weight thing. I'm not worried about the weight thing. I'm not worried about big enough. Can we stop the run? That becomes the question. Now, Jay Cortinas, he said, yes, that's the reason this isn't a Super Bowl year. They will need to address that next offseason. I do think, I've been saying it's going to be next year that they're really going to make the huge step for the Super Bowl run. But it would be crazy. Boy, if Brian Schottenheimer went to the Super Bowl in his first year, boy, that'd be crazy. Somebody says rush defense been suspect for a good while now. It'll stay that way. Stop it. Yeah, Brett says he's dead right. I've been saying it for years. I don't think it's the weight. I think that's the wrong argument. But I do think the question is simple. Can we stop the run? We're going to have to answer that question at some point this season. And I'm going to tell you, boy, if we can stop the run, a whole lot of things are going to fall into place. Darius Jack Bird, look, he says they haven't been able to stop the run for years. Now, Bermelo says lost to Marcus Lawrence going to show. No, we got Nealon for that. Nealon is the new DeMarcus Lawrence. Yeah, he'll be the new one. But I think this is one of the questions, man. A lot of people are probably... Boy, I love this take right here, boy. Shukri Rones. I guess it's Shukri Rose. He said, didn't exactly split the atom with this take. Captain Obvious. Boy, man, but again, you know, and Michael Parsons, boy, we got to be careful with that kind of stuff. Just because we got George Pickens, man, we don't need to be out here talking about we're going to be all right. No, we need to be better than all right if we want to go to the Super Bowl. We got to be better than all right. Tony P, he said, I don't think Shotty will let this narrative keep going on. We can't stop the run. Yeah. And if that narrative don't continue, then that means they're going to do something about it. Yeah, the ghost of Mike McCarthy, he said, got to stop the run game. He said, if you don't, then the other team controls the clock. Trenches win championships. Trenches win championships. If you can't stop the run, you can't control the game. The game controls you. You can't stop the run, man. You're going to find very quickly you're going to get behind. You're going to, every time they get in third and short, you're going to lose more confidence. The more every third and short, you'll lose confidence because they'll get the first down. And that has happened to us so many times in the past. There is nothing more demoralizing than for your team to get bullied on the line of scrimmage. Man, you demoralize teams when you beat them on the line of scrimmage. Boy, you demoralize them. Because they're always dreading getting in third and short. This is why the tush push for the Philadelphia Eagles, for example, is so dangerous. It is dangerous because every time they get in 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, everybody knows what it is. The tush push for the Philadelphia Eagles is such a dangerous play that when you take the field on 1st and 10, your thought process is, we can't let these guys get the 3rd and 1. We can't even let them get the 4th and 1. We got to always keep them in 4th and 4, 4th and 4, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 4s, 4th and 4s, 3rd and 7s. You don't ever want to let them get in 3rd and 2s. I'm telling you, man. That's why you need that offensive line and that defensive line. You do. You can keep those teams out of those short yardage situations. If you can stop the run, you can force teams into throwing the ball. You keep them in passing situations. So we're going to have to be able to stop the run for sure. Yeah, the ghost of Mike McCarthy said, got to stop the run. He said, if you don't, then the other team controls the clock. That only means you'll be forced to throw more when you do get the ball. Not a good recipe for success. See, with George Pickens, we don't want to be forced to throw the ball. We want to be able to throw the ball when we want to. Because if we can throw the ball when we want to, we'll be way more effective. We'll be way more effective. Yeah, we got to stop the run. Tony P said no. He said, heck no. He said that's one of the reasons McCarthy got out of here. Yeah. Got to keep him in those. We got to keep him in those passing situations. He says, Christopher Cook said, no, the good teams that could run the ball and slow down the offense took the air out of us in the past. Yeah. We don't need to be a dominant run defense, but we need to improve against the run. Yeah. We got to stop the run. We have to stop the run. If we can't stop the run, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble. Because if we can get them in a passing situation, if there's one thing I'm confident in, boy, this team is going to be able to rush the passer, boy. If they can't rush the passer, something wrong. But also when we think about that run game, I do think, though, we need to think about the linebacking crew is going to be so much better on this team. That is going to help us in the run. That is seriously going to help us in the run. So we do have to consider that. We have to keep that in our minds. Our linebackers, which I don't think we've really had good linebackers for years, I think we got a pretty good linebacking crew. They're going to be able to stop. They're going to be able to help us in the run game. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah, Richard, I'm with you. Weight don't matter. I'm not so much with the weight stuff. He says, can you prevent the runner from getting past you matters. Yeah, that's kind of where I am too. Yeah, I'm not, that's kind of where Dan is getting tore up because he's talking about the whole weight thing. Christopher Cook said the good teams that run the ball and have complete team took us to the woodshed in the past. Yeah, we have to improve against the run. For sure. Yeah, we let them extend drives that we shouldn't have let them extend. Man, Solomon Thomas, Gary, is going to be good. Solomon Thomas is going to be good. Louise, he said, what Mike is saying is you have one of the best run-stopping coaches in the NFL, so why are we worried? Well, I do think he's also saying on there, too, we're going to have one of the best offenses in the league, so we'll be all right. And, you're answering a defensive question with an offensive answer. Dan Orlowski isn't making the argument about what you have on offense. He's making the argument about what you have on defense. And our defense don't need to get the mindset that we can put up 30 points. That's not a mindset we want to be in. No, our defense needs to be in the mindset of we don't care if we can score 30 points. We want to hold every team in the league below 20 points. That's how we got to be thinking. Yeah, we can score, but we're not worried about the fact that we can score. We know we can score. No, we need to stop the other team from scoring too. And the way we're going to stop them from scoring is stop them from running the ball on us, putting them in pass situations, rushing the passer, getting him on the ground, strip sack fumbles, and hopefully making them throw interceptions. The ghost of Mike McCarthy said, I'm surprised other teams don't get a running back to practice taking snaps to do a tush push of our own. That's what I would do if I didn't have a quarterback like Hurts. Well, the ghost of Mike McCarthy, you're going to see something strange the teams are doing. The Baltimore Ravens, they had their tight end doing this for them. And I think what you're going to see with other teams, they're going to figure out, why do we have to let the quarterback do this? Why do we have to have the quarterback doing it? Why not bring in a tight end? Cowboys, why not bring in Phil Maffa? Why not? why not let Hunter Lipke do it? I mean, it's got to be a guy with good hands. You mess around and put a guy back there with bad hands, and you try to do the tush push, he'll fumble the ball. But the Baltimore Ravens have already shown us they're trying their tight end out at it. And I think other teams may have to do the same thing. I'm not sure if you can with Dak with his foot, I wouldn't want Dak doing it. Dak after that hamstring, I wouldn't want Dak doing it. So the Baltimore Ravens said we don't want Lamar Jackson doing it. Lamar Jackson's not a big quarterback like that. So you get somebody else to do it. Donnelly, what's going on? He said, big bro, he said, I guess you're not listening to that coach that commented and said something about dominating the ball defensively. Bro, sounds like you don't believe what he said. I'm not sure what you're saying here. Let me read this again. Oh, yeah, you're talking about one of the coaches on the team. Well, I believe what he's saying. It's not that I don't believe what he's saying, but I do think, Gady, what everyone else is saying. We don't have the players. Everybody's saying this without saying it. We're not sure if Mazi Smith is going to make the next step. And some people, I think they're also saying, and even if he does make the next step, they want another rotational player that can also stop the run. It's one thing to hear what somebody says, but if you don't have the personnel to do what you're saying, then what you're saying don't matter. Dan Orlovsky is saying the same thing. Now, Dan Orlovsky, I think, is using the wrong argument because he's using an argument of weight, and I'm not really sure if the weight matters. But again, I guess if you're talking about a one tech, some people think Mazi Smith is undersized. They do. Some people think he's undersized for a one tech. So some people are saying you need a bigger one tech because that's supposed to be the run stopper. And again, just because you say what you're going to do or what you want to do, you got to have the personnel to do it. Brian Schottenheimer, let me give you an example, Gady. And I appreciate your comment. Let me give you a prime example. Brian Schottenheimer said, and I quote, Dak Prescott will play elite quarterback. So is Dak going to play elite quarterback with CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Mingo, Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, and anybody else on that in that wide receiver room? You can tell me Dak Prescott's going to play elite quarterback all you want to. But until you show me that you go get the players so Dak can play elite quarterback, I'm not going to believe you. We went and got Jaden Blue because everyone was kind of upset at the beginning of the first 2 days of the draft. Then we get Jaden Blue. People say, okay, we'll have a running game. We got Phil Maffa. We'll have a run game. We'll better do some play action. But what did everybody keep screaming? We need another wide receiver. We wanted him in the draft. We didn't get him. You can't tell me Dak's going to play elite quarterback unless you show me you go get Tyler Booker, unless you show me you go get Jaden Blue, and then you go trade for George Pickens. And then when you tell me you're going to play, the Dak's going to play elite quarterback, now I say, yeah, man, I believe you. You gave him the weapons to do it. Now, if you tell me we're going to be violent in the run game, the question is, with the players that we have currently picked up, do we believe we're going to be violent in the run game? I think we're going to be better in the run game. But if we think that we're good enough, then why does everybody keep talking about a one tech? If you're talking about championships, I do think Dan Orlovsky is on to the right track. Man, you got to go get another D tackle. You do. I mean, it is what it is. You don't want to take a chance. And even if Mazi takes the step, you would still love to have DJ Reader in a rotation with him. You would love to see it because if he goes down, what are you left with? 2 rookies? Nah. I understand exactly what Dan Orlovsky is saying, and I understand what the coaches are saying, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. We'll see what happens post June 1st. I do believe the Cowboys post June 1st I think they're going to make their next couple of moves. I think they will make moves after June 1st. Brandy, what's going on with you? Christopher Cook said word is not the right word. Have to stop the run, period. He said, I believe we can do it. I believe our defense is better this year. It is. We just have to do it on the field. Yes, I believe it too. But again, I think the Cowboys are saying a couple of things. They want to see what Mozzie Smith is this year. This is why you're not hearing the Cowboys. This is why you're not hearing the Cowboys at all this one tech talk. They're not doing that. All right. Lisa Worley, it is late in Dallas over here. And boy, this AT&T is tripping. But again, it's 3 o'clock. I'm going to let you guys get to sleep. I got a live stream again today. But again, just answering Gady. I appreciate the thing, what he said. But I believe these coaches. I just think they need to make sure they get the players. And I like what we have. Believe me, I love what we have at defensive tackle. I think Solomon Thomas is going to be absolutely great. But I do think that people just got questioned at the one tech. They do. Lewis said you have Solomon and Osa, you have Mozzie, you have Rogers who was improved. Yeah, I believe that the defense is improved even at the defensive tackle position. But a lot of people, man, they're saying that one tech. But again, I think this is one of the reasons why the Cowboys, they're not saying anything about this yet. And I think it's smart what they're doing. They're not talking about it yet. The Cowboys are going to wait and see. They're going to probably give it some time and see what it looks like. But I do say, if them Detroit Lions come to the Cowboys and they come talking DJ Reader, and the Cowboys can get DJ Reader for a good draft pick and a good price, the Cowboys will pick up Reader. Calvin Richard, he said, I think the threat of the deep throw still keeps the defense on alert. No doubt, it does. The Ghost of Mike McCarthy, he said, great show. Good night, everyone. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Y'all hit that like button on the way out. We'll be back tomorrow at around 4:30. We'll see what's happening on day 2 of the OTAs. I appreciate y'all being with me on Cowboys After Dark. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. They done already demanded AT&T. Boy, I'm going to talk to somebody about this tomorrow. See if maybe we can get another upgrade and see if we can get something that we can be sure it's always on. Richard, he says, I'm at work. Good show. Can't wait for what's next. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Yeah, we're going to do it again. Man, we're going to be right back at it today at 4:30. But again, man, I appreciate you. We're going to collect some more stories. And we'll be back again on Let's Talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Until the next time, y'all hit that like button on the way out. Peace.